Greetings, family. Welcome to Pan-Africanism Towards Nationhood, building a global Black business pipeline. And greetings, family. Welcome again. This is Bomani Tyehimba of Africa for the Africans Tourism Investment, and my good brother Carla Genesis from Carla Genesis Radio and Black African Infrastructure Organization. And family, we are the kings of Pan-Africanism, and we're here to lead you into a proper direction as far as repatriation, Pan-Africanism, living, doing business in Africa, and so on. The journey continues. Greetings, brother Carla. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today, brother?
Yes, man. Always excited. Always looking to connect with more people, new people, so we can connect them on Reconnection to Africa. And family,
Yes.
tonight we're here to talk about real Black history. We'll unify and free our people. And this is the Afrikstan analysis live with Carla Genesis and Bomani Tyehimba. And family, all the things that I will be talking about and we'll be talking about as far as tours, investments, and connection. You can always find the full details on our website at africafortheafricans.org. And here is a live shot of our website. And what you always see is some beautiful photos of some of the previous journeys. And we can only put so much photos on there. So we have all the full galleries on Facebook. And we have just an array of just flow of photos from all the different countries on Instagram. And then all of the video footage as far as Africa for the Africans is all here on this YouTube page, all of the highlights and in detail highlights. So the website is designed just to give you just a full flow of all the details, and there's a nice music player. You can just always play and navigate. And as you scroll down, or if you're on a mobile version, once you click on the main menu or you scroll through, you'll see all of the details. We just get right to the point. So whatever your interests are as far as countries, you'll see the specific countries right there in the main menu, and also right here in the main page. And on the main menu, you also have things like consultations, because it's Africa Tourism Investment, and part of that is providing you with free or paid consultation and looking to work our best to connect you to an incredible experience. So we have a bunch of different countries. So we just got back from Senegal and Gambia in March and April, and then also Ghana recently in May and June. So those are the first two journeys that we have taken this year on the 17th year anniversary as far as our Africa for Africans tours and investments. So I'm always telling people that we're well experienced in all these things that we're doing, and we just have an incredible system that has worked and stand the test of time, and we keep on building, growing on it, and the goal is always to be innovative to the highest level. So our next journey is Tanzania, Roots and Culture, November 16th to the 27th, 2023. So it's a few months from now, and this is our fourth journey. So you can see all the previous videos and documentation, so you can just get a feel of what we do and where you're staying at, and all of the things that that's involved in these journeys. And then after that, we're going to close out the year for South Africa Roots and Culture Tour. That's December 24th to January 4th. And then we have Liberia Reconnection and Investment Journey to set off the year, and that's March 29th to April 9th, 2024. So we're going to be talking more about that throughout the time of this conference call. And, Carla's going to break some historical and some cultural and some connection as far as Liberia. Uh, and then after that, we have our summer journey to Ghana. That is our next Ghana journey, July 11th to the 23rd of next year. And we're going to be setting off the fall in Egypt, November 21st to December 2nd. And then we're going to work in a December to January journey. More than likely, that should be South Africa. And then we have Senegal and the Gambia, April 1st to the 11th, 2025. So that is a proposed journey that we have for that time frame. So we'll keep you posted if anything change. And the main thing that I'm always telling everyone, that they want to see the flow of what we've done before, also in just a group photo, you can scroll all the way down, and and also while you're scrolling down, lots of updated details and relative links and information. So this is a full flow of information. So this is the 17 years of our journeys. So those are the last 2 journeys you have taken, and then you scroll down and keep on scrolling down, and you'll see this different countries, and you'll see one that represent every year the last 17 years, except for 2010, which journey was rescheduled for the following year in the summer. And you'll see big groups and bigger groups and medium-sized groups. But this is what we do. We just organize our people and get them ready and just share an incredible program. So these are some of the photos, and it goes all the way down to 2006. So yes, family, all of the details that you're looking for is right here below your screen, and you can navigate and check it out and click on the links for each journey, and you can get all the information, be fully clear on everything. So once you do that, that's the ideal time to call, talk, and let's go through information and get you ready. So yes, family, let's get back to our regular schedule program with our good brother Carla Genesis. And here's the topic again, family: real Black history will unify and free our people. So yes, my good brother Carla Genesis, what brought this topic to your mind?
What brought this? Hope I'm not echoing. What brought this topic to my mind was the fact that when Malcolm X was alive, he didn't have a bunch of people talking about I'm a Hebrew copper-colored Negro, and we were already here, and the slave trade never happened. There's no documented proof of the slave trade ever happening. When you look at past people in leadership in our history, right, they were so connected to our struggle, right? What appears was apparent. What appears was apparent, right? The social conditions, the economic conditions, and the racial conditions of our people, it was evidence that it was because we were brought over here as slaves, and we were treated as such by a racist white supremacist system, right? And so therefore, it's obvious. Now people want to rewrite history and say we were already here. Slavery never happened. We were all kings and queens someplace else. At the same time, they don't want to identify with the same place they came from. So they skip over West Africa and say that never happened. And so they will identify with being a Moor, a Olmec, Native American, Comanche, whatever, and they go right to Egypt. This is because our history right now is based on what you can get Black people to like. Real history is being honest with yourself. Okay, if you're not honest with yourself, if you read something about your history and you get angry and you feel disappointed in your ancestors, well, you're on the right path. Why? Because if you're serious about doing something in the future, you can learn from what your ancestors went through. You can learn how exactly we fell into this situation and how we can get out of it. The problem is that most of us don't want to get out of this situation. So therefore, what happens is that we have scholars that come along and realize that Black people here, despite all their complaining, are comfortable with America. They love America. They love white people. They love all this stuff like this, right? They're more pro-American than the white people are, right? So let's change history around, right, to make Black people feel good about their situation. One of the things you have to do is erase the slave trade, or slave trade that wasn't that bad, or that if you give people an outlet, right, saying, well, some Black people are already here, and so therefore, if you choose to identify with slave masters, that's fine. But I was already here walking around 125th Street in Detroit and everything like that. Well, your ancestors were on a plantation. So they take themselves out of the slave equation, right? So therefore, the pain of slavery does not affect them. They can go along with doing their regular business with whites and everything. Hey, I don't care. Why am I mad? Because I wasn't a slave. I wasn't a slave. That was some Black people's ancestors came over the slave trade, not mine. And I asked this question: do you have any academic credentials, any academic book that says that there were Black people in America prior to the Europeans arriving? None. Then what they do is They'll say, oh, that's a white man's book. That's a white man. You go by the white man's history. White man's history. History is history. History tells the truth no matter who it is. Well, written by a white man. Well, what about all the books written by black men? There's no credible peer-reviewed source that says black people were here in the Americas prior to the transatlantic slave trade. That is a falsehood and a lie that's came up and is exacerbated because of social media. Nobody checks it. Nobody wants to check it because there's so many people. I'm seeing more and more people falling for this nonsense and everything, that we're the true Indians. You got people out here, Native Americans, saying, dang, why are these people trying to take our identity, our culture away from us, right, for their own? And it's obvious that the black people don't want real history. They don't want real history because real history is too painful. Look, the transatlantic slave trade, what happened to us in America is painful. We're taught that these men, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe, all these great, Ben Franklin, all these great men, right? You see their pictures on our money. You see their portraits on billboards, on monuments, and everything like that. So therefore, what happens is people, when they look at this stuff, they're saying to themselves, well, geez, man, these guys are so great. These guys are so powerful and everything. What does that say about me? What does that say about my ancestry and everything? And then people begin to hate. You begin to internalize that hatred towards yourself. You're saying America was this great country, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, all this stuff like this. So therefore, you begin to hate yourself, and you begin to see yourself as the problem in America, not the fact that these people, what they did to our ancestors was a problem, but we're the problem, right? And that's what you have right now. Even in so-called people call themselves Pan-Africans, they always make it seem like black people are the problem. Black people are the problem. Black people are the problem by what we do. And you got people that call themselves conscious and people that call themselves educated. It's always trying to fix what's wrong with us, never the situation that we found ourselves in the first place. So that's why I said real history is going to set us free. Real history about our culture. And also, what about the fact that there's a lot of people that basically say, oh, we were suffering. Well, while we were suffering, there were black people that were achieving, even during slavery times, even after slavery. How did we able to build these communities like Black Wall Street, Wilmington, and places like Georgia and places like that? We built thriving communities and everything. Were we always suffering? No, we were that. So you got people that basically want to make it seem like we're always suffering and we never accomplished anything. And you got people that make it seem like none of this happened at all and we're just all a figment of our imagination. So that's what I want to open with tonight. And I'm going to give many, many examples tonight of what I'm talking about as far as like fake history versus real history. So get in tune.
Yes, brother. Carla Genesis, live and direct, setting it off. Yes, brother. Appreciate the breakdown, and you can just go into different segments of what you talk about as far as false history versus real history, and name some source and go into details as far as those things.
Okay.
And then while everyone is listening, family, let me know if you have any good or great questions that you can share so we can post and talk about it. And click and show us some love with all of these different buttons and things.
Hit the super chat too. Hit the super chat too. We appreciate that.
Yes, family. Keep that energy going. Keep it live, and we never disappoint. We always got something good for you. So
let me ask you a question.
Genesis,
when's the last time you ever heard anyone say, great Benin? Benin. Benin was a big city. A city as big as Amsterdam. There's an urban population with buildings, markets, and everything. Benin was a great city. Oyo was a great city. Kano was a great city. Ife was a great city. Timbuktu was a great city. Do you ever hear anybody talk about this when they talk about Black history? What do they talk about? They always talk about Egypt, right? And the reason why is because...
And talk about Egypt...
Okay.
The
reason why is because Egypt was always claimed by Europeans and this great marvelous civilization, right? So if Egypt was a great civilization, it was great. We got to basically be part of that, right? Because if white people like Egypt, then we call ourselves Egypt. That means that forces them to like us, just like the Native Americans, right? Black people say they're Native American. Why? Because when you look at movies and everything like that, they didn't suffer the racism that we suffered. So there's a lot of black people that basically want to be Native Americans simply because they didn't suffer the slavery and stuff like that. And so therefore, it's easier just to call yourself a Native American to get out of the pain and the embarrassment of being black in America. That's what it's all about. And so when you look at people, and if people aren't talking about the Congo, the kingdoms of the lost civilizations in the Congo, they're not talking about the civilizations in the Delta region, of Nook civilization of Nigeria. They're not talking about those people, like civilizations like that. Then you really have nothing to really build upon. And I'm going to talk about that even as far as Liberia. I'm going to get to that in a minute, right? When you start talking about real black history and everything, real black achievement and everything, nobody wants to acknowledge it because it's not recognized by white people. If it's not recognized by white people, then black people don't want it. We want a falsified history, to make us feel better. Okay, so when you I find that the more educated black people are, the more they like to embrace the real African American and African history. It seems like the less educated black people are. The free our
Yeah,
mind.
I'm gonna to keep on scrolling questions down. You can also read them out loud if you can see it good. If not, I can
Okay,
also
yeah.
read them out.
It says Dr. David spoke about us using history as a tool. Yeah, we have to know. We have to know our history. We have to know our history, a real history. Real history, not made up history. Like Malcolm X said one time, he said, "Look, I'm going to go in there and study, and wherever the chips fall away, I want the truth. I want the truth about everything, right?" And he just came to the conclusion after everything, right? He says, after looking at America, right? This is 1964. And one of the books you want to read about Malcolm X's last speeches. He said, after concluding everything in America, right, what America is, the type of country America is, he said that that this country is never going to change. It was rooted in the white supremacy and the degradation of black people, right? So even though you may black people succeeding here and there and everything, there's always that void. There's always that void. Why do you think that people come here, right? Because they don't know who we are. They don't know our history. They don't know our contributions to American history. They don't freaking know the tremendous sacrifice that we gave for this country. The wars. But let's be honest about something like that. The Revolutionary War. Black men fought in the Revolutionary War. They fought on both sides, for the British and they fought for the American Revolution, right? The Civil War. If it was not for the black soldiers in the Civil War, this 54th Infantry of Massachusetts and several others, the Civil War would have been lost. America would have been a broken up republic and survived. It was the black soldiers who came in there and did that. But we don't basically think that's worthy of honor, right? Nat Turner's rebellion, okay? Nat Turner's rebellion and John Brown's rebellion, right? Two events that started the whole end of slavery. They said the slavery was nothing going to lead to violence. So it began the process of the abolition movement and the end of the idea that slavery as an institution has to end in America. We don't talk about these things in our history. We gloss over these things, right? The war, the fact that black soldiers were used in the Caribbean and the Philippines. What about the black soldiers who basically who abandoned the American troop guard and joined the Philippine resistance during the Spanish-American War? Okay, that's part of our history. We have to know that. Why those soldiers do that, right? Why? Because they felt no connection with America. They felt America was the enemy. America was racist, so they joined. They saw the Filipinos being oppressed, and they joined with the Filipino army. That is part of our history, right? Same time, you had black people fought for the American military in World War II with the Red Tails, right? and they distinguish themselves in valor and everything. So what I'm trying to say is all this is important in knowing who we are. In other words, basically, if it's not for the black people in America, right? If the black laborers had not migrated to cities like Detroit, Gary, Indiana, Pittsburgh, Chicago, and everything, America's industrial age would have never happened, because it was black labor who built the auto industry in the Midwest. If we don't know that history, right, and then we're not proud of that, then we really have no stake in the world. This is why people feel like they can come to America and feel like they're superior to us and feel like they're more entitled to us. How do you have Asians come over here talk about they're being discriminated against as far as affirmative action, and they didn't put no blood into this country? You know, a lot of black people don't even know the blood that black people put into this country. You know, these people basically, black people are Native American. No, we're not Native American. This worldview clown, whoever this is, I wish this person would come on here. You know, I'm not going to bully the person. I'll be nice. Hey, come on here, explain their stupid views. I'm sick of the commenting every week with their nonsense. How can black people be the first humans we had ever? We're not native to America. That's a bunch of nonsense. That's a people who, like I said, don't want to hear the painful history of our ancestors, right? The truth is, right, your ancestors were brought on slave ships, on the bottom of slave ships, sold on the auction block and whatnot, for a price and everything. And that's something you have to deal with, something you have to live with, something you have to acknowledge, right? And when you acknowledge that,
Dane Calloway said that's not true.
Oh, it don't matter what they. Well, lame, hella gay. The bottom line, it does not matter what these fools think. Does not matter, because the bottom line is this: the reason why we have the Dane Callaways and everything like that is because our history is basically too painful for people. It's easy to say that we're native to America, right? Why? Because we don't want because on the table to solve black people's problems is one day parting ways with America and building a nation of our own in Africa and building Africa. That's the end game for all this. That's the end game for all this. And that when you learn real history, you come to that conclusion, right? We come in full circle. We came here against our will, right? And might have to leave here against our will, and that's just the way it is. So therefore, just basically keep talking about we were native to America and everything like that, and try to make up history. You had that fool Tyrone putting his black Ebola hands up, talking about these copper color. That's a Negro, man. That hand looked like it got a friggin' neck bone in one hand, a pile of cotton in the other one. That's little Negro hands. So the bottom line is this. There's a lot of pain, right, in learning real black history. And that's why tonight we're going to talk about real black history. Real black history for the black person of African descent is always going to be pain, suffering, trials, and tribulation in America. You can call me a clown all you want. I'm telling the truth, And the truth, I'm telling the truth, right? The truth is painful, You are African held in America captivity. Just say, look, we did all this, Their natives on the island. There's Tainos on the island, right? But the bottom line is the black people were the slaves. The Tainos died of European diseases. That's why they brought the Africans, your ancestors and my ancestors, to work the cane field. Your African Indians can't work those. Do you know how brutal the plants that about the sugar cane fields in Jamaica, right? Bomani. Do you know how brutal that work was? It was so brutal that the Europeans kept bringing more and more Africans over because they died at such a high. It had such a high mortality rate. They just kept replenishing them. No African ever migrated. Because let me give you an example of that. Why is that? That's not possible, right? First of all, Africa has everything that a black person, a human being needs: warm climate, abundant land, everything. Why would somebody go from that to the North America, which was barren, cold, rocky, woody area? Only the Europeans could settle in North America, and the only reason why they were able to settle because they had one, they pushed Native Americans off their land or mixed with them or whatever, and then two, they had a abundant source of free labor, and number three, they had a mercantile system, which they had a mother country supplying them, protecting them, and everything. That's why these cities on the eastern coast of America developed. The profits it was an idiot-proof system. We're going to give you slaves, and we're going to give you capital and everything. All we need to do is produce cotton, everything like that, tea, whatever, rice, and you ship it to the mother country. We distribute it around the world. That's all you need to do. The French colonies in America and Americas was the same way. You know, we set you up with capital, buildings, everything like that, and we set you with a cheap source of a permanent source of labor, a labor source you don't have to negotiate with. Everything is a permanent slave class of people based on their color and race. And the people that did that were the Africans. The Africans were the permanent class of slaves in America and the Caribbean. That's the truth. The Indians were another subclass outside the system and everything. They did their own thing. The Africans were brought here as slaves, you know, to be slave labor and everything. So that's what you're dealing with today. And now, since that system's so painful, because we were taught to love America and everything like that, how can you love a country that was founded? America would not be here if not for the death. The very soul of America is rooted in the destruction of African people. The very destruction. America was conceived in black death and destruction. So why you call it the truth? Black people were here. No, black people were not here as well as natives. They were not here. There's no documented proof. None whatsoever. I'm not talking about your Dane Calloway trying to fake pictures and everything like that. There's no real credible proof that Africans, black Africans were here in the Americas, North, South, Central America, prior to the European and transatlantic slave trade. There's no proof. There's no DNA evidence. There's no archaeological evidence. You can show me a city. You can show me pottery. Show me a farm. Show me anything where there's evidence that black people lived here. What you're trying to do is trying to conflate Africans and Native Americans. This is what I'm talking about fake history. And the reason why we can't get any place is because of fake history. You wonder why you go to 125th Street, the House of Conscience and everything, and you say to yourself, yeah, some people are like, yeah, you know, we were black, we were ancient Egyptians and everything like that. Once black people know it. Okay, you've been passing out these coloring books and everything like that, showing black people on pyramids and everything, and the community's still the same way. Because everybody knows that's bullshit. You know? Black people have to recover from the trauma of the transatlantic slave trade. You could try to paint, oh, we were Native Americans and everything. Were the black people buying weaves and all the stuff like that back then? You know, what were they doing? What were they doing for a living? Black people are Africans. Black Africans are not indigenous to the North America. Nothing in North America thing. This is the cold North. Black people, Africans, are indigenous to the tropics, right? Closer to the equator. The closer to the equator, the more African you are. So the idea that black people come way to North America, right, which is part of Europe and Icelandic people and some Eskimos and all these other indigenous people that are very light-skinned and fair-skinned and everything like that, that's North America. Africans were brought here against our will. This was not our climate. This was not anything in America that was a... Yeah, man, these people, like I said, they don't want to know real history. You know, they don't want to know real history. They don't want to take pride in real history. You know, they don't want to take pride in the fact that black people built real beautiful black communities. Every time I look, when I watch old movies, old reels, old black people in the South going to church and looking dignified and everything like that, that's what I love. You know, I don't want a fake history. I want to know real black history. You know, when you love yourself, you love your people, you want real history. You want to see yourself in real actuality. I want to see things that remind me of the black men that I grew up admiring, you know. my pastor, my uncles, the deacons, everybody else that I admired that were in my community. That when the men were out there doing work and everything, the women were in there cooking and everything like that, and I had that life of being around my own kind and my own people. I'm satisfied with that. And people that call themselves black leaders, right? And the Moors. First of all, the Moors were not black. The Moors were Almoravids, and they had some black people who were converted among them. The Moors were not black Africans. The Moors only existed in the Middle Ages. There's no show me any Moors in Rome or anything like that. And it was a descriptive term. It just meant people who were North African, mainly Persian, Berbers, Bedouins, Arabs, and all these other people who practiced Islam, and black people like the Tuaregs and some other people that mixed in with them. But it wasn't like the Moors were sitting there dapping each other up. We're black when we're going up there to Spain and everything. That's a bunch of bullshit. That's fake history. Black men were not Moors. We did not conquer Spain. So when people start learning real black history, they shy away from it. They always want history that puts them in Europe and everything. Oh, the first Shaolin monk, right, was black people, So that gives you an excuse to try to rob the Chinese of their heritage. Oh, we were really inventors of Kung Fu because the first Shaolin monk was a black man named Buddha. He came to China and everything. Fake history. Fake history. So fake history is a reason why black people can't get themselves together. While we're scattered all over the world, we can't organize nothing or build nothing. Because people don't want to be black. They don't want to be like this. Every other group of people know who they are. When they know who you are, they know the future. You can put something together. They know who they are. They know their past. They know who they're in the present. And they know where they're going in the future. Welcome, guest. Who we have on today?
Yes, brother Carla.
Yes, that is my good brother. Greetings, brother. Welcome to the call. Welcome to the call. Tonight we're talking about real black history. We'll unify and free our people. Let me know what's got on your mind.
Yes, greetings, my brothers. In America, what they do, these people do, they feed us our history from 1619. See, that's what they do in the West here. They say your history begins in 1619. So they give us our history from the low point. You see, and that's what gives us this negative psychology about ourselves, because nobody want to be associated. As I say, it's a painful history. And a lot of black people say, no, I don't want to talk about that. But if we don't talk about it, we won't hear, because it is a part of our history and it is painful. But we can shy away from it and don't address it. I know that when I found the truth, when the white mask was removed from my face, I was shocked. You know what I'm saying? I was shocked to realize, so you are correct. It is the history that will give us self-worth, our true history that will give us self-worth and self-love, and because, as I said, these people, they feed us a history from our low point, and that's why these people in the chat room, you hear them talking, because these are some of the Negroes that get affected by that information too. So when Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark and these people came with the Egyptian, that was our high point. So they say, all right, we're going to put our high point out to counteract what they did, So, but you are right. We must, if we must bring our history, our true history to the forefront, to ourselves and to our children, because that is going to correct the psychological damage that's been done to our minds.
Now, Dr. Clark and Dr. Ben, they started with Egypt, right? Because they felt Egypt was a black civilization. Let's go there because it's a high civilization and everything. But I really think, in my opinion, I always respect my elders and my ancestors, right? We should have basically started with West Africa. You know, we should have exalted kingdoms like Benin, you know, the Mali Empire, the Songhai Empire, the Benin Empire, these powerful kingdoms that exist in West Africa, the Mosai. We should have been doing that, or I think if that would have happened, right? And then explained how, because West Africa was going through a phase, right? How West Africa felt as a bottom line is this: black people, when we look at history, right? And I stuck with this. Let me say this, right? I always want to know, how does a race of people let themselves fall into transatlantic slave trade, where they're traded to the bottom of slave ships for 300 years by white men and everything, and didn't fight back, didn't do anything. Then I found out that Africans did fight back, you know? But the thing is, though, I found out that we as black people, right, like other people, didn't have a concept of race. You know, race, and there's a concept Europeans created. It was created as a concept by Europeans because it was evil, right? In other words, basically, the white man created a world system, whereas if anybody had white skin, there's only but far down that you could fall in the world, the world pecking order. That's what white supremacy is all about. You could only fall but so far. If you're a criminal, you can like that. There's always benefits for you to get out of stuff and everything. There's benefit access to everything if you agree with this white system. And also, it gives people who may not be white, but be close to white, people, mestizos and everybody, but you're not black. So long as you're not black, right? Hey, we'll give you some benefits or position in this white supremacy system. You know, that's why you got in the Spanish, in the Caribbean, in Spanish country, the mestizos, the Latinos think they're superior to the darker skinned people in these islands, right? Because it's a system that's set up, a caste system set up based on color, right? At the bottom of this caste system is a person who is black African origin, okay? And so therefore, what I'm saying is this: what we should have did was we should have elevated black Africa at all costs, right? Make that the base of what we're trying to talk about. Let's rebuild these great civilizations in black Africa and everything like that. So therefore, that people who are black can have something to identify with, you know, something strong to identify with, right? That's where our ancestors come from, and this is what we're trying to redeem. That's what Garvey wanted to do. We're going to redeem black Africa. We'll redeem blackness and everything. We'll exalt Africa to a highest level. Why? Because we were racially discriminated against and racially. And this is why people to this day, right, they'll say, oh, yeah, this, but they'll never admit that they're black African. You never hear anybody say they're black, even the so-called conscious people, right? I'm not black African, you know? I'm not no African, you know? You hear what I'm saying? People are conscious. Y'all heard people in Sinai's group, we ain't no Africans. We're no Africans, ever, you know, like that. We're Hebrews, we're Moors, you know? And then they try to put a biblical, the Africans were Hamites, we were Shemites, and all kinds of stupid stuff, because we really are taught to hate being black. We're taught to hate being black. And it's a survival mechanism. I'm going to tell a story, okay? There was in St. Louis, Missouri, there was a brown-skinned black man, right? He was like light brown skin, right? And somehow in that area, right, it was in Missouri, there was some Hindus there. And they wore turbans on their head, right? They wore turbans on their head. And they were able to walk around free. And also in New York City, same thing. There was Indians that were coming from India and Pakistan that were free. And the black people looked around and said, man, these people, if they cover their hair, if I could cover my hair, wear a turban, and start speaking Hindu or being a Muslim, I could call myself a Moor, right? And that will get me out of the thing of being a slave, black African descent American. And it worked. There was a lot of people that basically think, well, a lot of times when you see these people call themselves Moors and everything like that, that was to escape the bondage and the stigma of being black. You know? So this guy walked around, right, and he was able to escape slavery by passing himself off as a Hindu, and he was a black person, you know, but he was able to escape out of Missouri and get past certain things because he proposed as something else. So this is what I'm saying. In 2023, we still got people with turbans on their heads and going around calling themselves Moors, Hebrew Israelites, and everything else, Muslims, everything, to get out of being black African. You know, nobody wants to say I'm black African. Why? Because in their mind, that means that it's slavery. Everybody wants to say they're royalty. They want to deny the African. If you deny your African heritage, if you deny the Mafa, that is an abomination. There's no forgiveness for that, you know?
Hold on a little bit, the Carla. When you say black African, are they white Africans?
No.
Exactly. So, yeah, so it's African. When you say African, it's automatically, we know say
I want to be clear, right?
Yeah.
When I say African, there's some people call them Africans, but they say, well, I'm African, but I'm mixed. I'm African, but I'm mulatto. I'm African. When I say black African, that means you identify with the majority bloodline of black Africa. You know, I would say black Africa.
But what some of these Negroes don't realize in America, you know, is that when a builder builds a house, right? When he builds a house and he uses the tools to build a house, when he builds a house, he don't give credit to the tools to build a house. He gives credit to himself. So a lot of these Negroes don't realize that we were tools used to build America. You see? And America is not going to come and say, yes, okay, I want to thank you Africans for it. No. You know, nobody does that. You know, and who builds up something, the man comes here, he kill off these people, drag us from Africa to build this country, and now he's going to turn around and say, okay, you know what, no, I'm going to share it with you. Where the hell they do that?
Never. And let me ask you a question about Van Serma. Van Serma, basically, book was debunked many times. He even basically retracted a lot of stuff he said. The Olmecs were not black and everything like that. He wrote that book when he was a young man. It wasn't peer-reviewed. It was no research. And basically, it's been debunked so many times. But it circulates on social media because, Dr. Ari Van Serma said something like that. Many people have wrote books and everything that had no real credibility in this. You know, so if anybody tells you that black people being in North America, right, before the transatlantic slave trade, they're telling you a falsehood. There's no truth to that. There's no evidence and everything. All they do is show you some pictures. They show a picture of the Olmecs. Then we look at a real person that from the area look just like him, right? You know, and they say, "Oh, he got a wide nose." But the Mayans, all the people had the same facial features as a sculpture, you know. And we do DNA tests and everything. And I always ask a question, MJ. You want to come on? I want to ask you. Name me an Olmec city. Name me an Olmec food or dish. Give me the time stamp that the Olmecs existed. Nobody could do this. Give me an Olmec civilization. Give me one of their buildings, their towns. Give me a great warrior. Give me anything in the Olmec history. I don't know, because it never existed. You know, it was something made up. Fake history. Black people want to say that, so they don't want to have to deal with the fact that their ancestors are from Africa. I was already here, so you don't. So therefore, every other group of people have a ties with their motherland. The Chinese, everybody else, Koreans, they're not gonna say I was already here. They know they're from China. No matter how they succeed in America, they know they're Chinese. You got Chinese Americans from Chinatown, been here for 6-7 generations, right? Who are going to Beijing, open businesses up because they say I'm still Chinese. I can't speak any Chinese or Mandarin, but I'm still Chinese. And the Chinese people, how do you think modern China was built? Chinese government reached out to the Chinese people from all over the world, saying, you know, you're Chinese, we need you to come here and help build a country. That's why these cities like Wuhan and these Hong Kong and all these places developed so fast, because they had a connection racially. The black race and whatnot were the only group of people who are trying to wipe clean our history with Africa, right? Because of shame, of shame. And that's why we are at the bottom of the global pecking order. And nothing's going to change until we start learning our real history and accepting who we are. And that's the truth.
But if we are the first people though that people the planet, if we are the first people that people this planet and life began in Africa, it could be at some point, where our people, migrate and
black people don't migrate.
No, I mean,
black people.
but hold on.
Yeah,
Remember,
and
no,
also I do apologize. If both of you could just, I've listened to what both of you have to say. I just want to put a different perspective in it, and these are not my views or anything. And this is just from a colleague of mine, a good brother of mine that traveled with me, and he has been doing his presentation about ancient African history and breaking certain things down. So I want to play this video with him talking about one of the most important things that he's breaking down is the definition of indigenous and things like that. So this is something that we can watch for a few minutes, and then we can we can continue to analyze, and you guys can kind of have a different view to kind of connect your conversation with. So family, what we're talking about tonight, let me just pop back up. The topic is real Black history will unify and free our people. So those are some of the things that we're getting into, and you don't have to agree with all the things that we're talking about. Everyone is always open to doing their own research and analysis. And again, based on everyone's views, including Carla, my brother right here, and the person I'm about to play, these are not my same views. I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I'm just here presenting and sharing information because I want us to be better researcher of the things that Carla's talking about, real history. All right, my brother, can you stay tuned for a few minutes and then give us your analysis on this short video clip?
No problem.
Yes, brothers. Here we go. So this video is called Black Egypt Debunked, and the part that I want us to also analyze is these crazy claims about Native Americans and us being Native Americans and things like that. The crazy Dane Calloway theory. So my good brother here breaks that down also. So let's get into it and listen up, and let's give some feedback after.
Was never a Black nation or country, not a Negroid nation or country. On top of this claim, ever indigenous to North Africa, the Levant, the Near East, Europe, or the Caucasus. And I have been offering $100 if someone come up with an answer of a Negroid or Black tribe in those areas I named. Besides Nubians hanging on the border of Egypt. So this was another answer people came up with, was Nubians. I'm not speaking of Nubians. I have Sudan and Nubians in the category as East Africans. You guys can put them in North Africa if you want to. This is why I'm saying besides North Africans. Never indigenous. So what I mean by indigenous is, let's use the example of the Native Americans who came through the Bering Straits, through Alaska, into Canada, down into the United States, Mexico, down into the Brazil. All of this we call the Western Hemisphere. The Native American type, who was of the genetic type of East Asian, came in through the Bering Straits in the land bridge and populated slowly the entire Western Hemisphere from Alaska on down to Brazil. These are people who came to an empty and a barren land that was not inhabited, and they set up camp there, and their culture was born. That's what I consider a people indigenous to a land. Nobody was there before they got there. You know how we know? Because there was an ice age, and you can look it up if you don't believe me. It was called the Laurentine Ice Sheet. The Laurentine Ice Sheet, 20,000 years ago. When it melted, that's when the Native American type came in, because it melted and they were able to come in and they populated it. They couldn't live in an ice age on an ice sheet. They came in when it melted. You can look that up. So the Native Americans are indigenous to the Western Hemisphere and to the Americas. This is why right now they don't have Columbus Day per se no more. They call it Indigenous Day. My people are from West and Central Africa, and we're indigenous to West and Central Africa. We're not indigenous to the Americas. Now, I can use terms as in Chief X is native to California. Native to California means I was born in California. But my ancestors in my distant heritage are indigenous to West and Central Africa, not the Western Hemisphere. My other claim is there was never any kinky, nappy-haired people, any Negroid type in the entire Western Hemisphere until Columbus explorations and the transatlantic slave trade. They never were here, period. Now, what is a Negroid, Chief X? Let me share my screen. Let's be clear. Let me blow this up so people can see it. As you see the map of Africa on the right, Sudan is in East Africa. You have East Africa, Central Africa, West Africa, Austral Africa. Austral is another word for South Africa. Okay? Then you have North Africa above it, which no Negroid has ever been indigenous to. So Africa has the most genetic diversity. And that's why, because you have other type of people on the continent. So most of the time when Black Americans or African Americans hear the word African, all they can think of in their mind is a nappy, kinky-haired person. A lot of people didn't know North Africa was never, ever Black Africa. Understand this. Never, ever. Them people in North Africa today have been there at least 30,000 years. So they're indigenous to North Africa. The Native Americans have only been in the Western Hemisphere for 15,000 years, and they're indigenous. So if North Africans been there 30,000 years, God damn it, they can be indigenous too. You have different types of Africans. Now, let's do this. List of tribes. Hope you all can see. In alphabetical order, I can go through here and name 100 or more, hundreds of Negroid, sub-Saharan African tribes or nations. They're right here listed in alphabetical order, list of tribes. From A to Z, as you see, we can go on and on and on and on and keep scrolling on. Look how many tribes we can name. On and on and on and on and on, and we can just keep going on forever and ever and ever and ever. All these tribes, Sina, Singa, Singware, Seer, Shai, Shamba, we can go on and on. The Shilluk, I mean, Songhai. We can keep going on and on. The Mandinka, Mano, Margie. I mean, we can keep going on and on and on. Just follow my logic for a minute. Until what? We get to the bottom right here, and it says Zulu. And there's people of the Zulu tribe. Negroids, black folk of sub-Saharan Africa. These type of people were never, ever, ever, ever in North Africa or indigenous to North Africa, the Levant, the Near East, Europe, or the Caucasus. These are what you call tropical Africans. I am a tropical African. Most people listening to me are tropical Africans. What do you mean, Chief X? Let's just do this. Things are a little slow. Bear with me. I'm waiting for this little arrow to pop up so I can slide by. Hold on. Hope I see it. Hold on. There we go. What do you mean by tropical African, desert African, arid African? Here's a climate map, right? And as you see, Nigeria and Ghana is over here where my hand is, in the light blue areas. Light blue, as you see, is what? Tropical rainforest, tropical monsoons, tropical savanna, right? And the red is arid desert, right? Let's be weird. So in the red, you see all in the Sahara and half of North Africa is arid Africa or desert Africa. I'm a tropical African. Don't disrespect me and call me anything other than a tropical African. Don't call me a desert African or an arid African. I'm not that. Black kinky haired people are not that. We are all tropical Africans. Okay? Do you understand? So it's no secret that you see a lot of North Africa, the Sahara Desert, and the Horn, which they call people over there in Ethiopia and Eritreans and Somalians, they call them Horners because they're in the Horn of Africa. It's red over there too. There are different people than you. Horners have a lot of Arab DNA. They're a mixed group of people. Somalians, Eritreans, Ethiopians, and shit like that, right? So let's move forward. All right. So the Zulu, as you see here, are tropical Africans. Let's move forward. I'm leading up to things, so you guys just have to bear with me, right? This is just not no fly-by-night presentation. Okay? So you've seen the list of tribes from A to Z. Guess what? I can name hundreds of them. I showed you them. All I asked people to do was to name one Negroid tribe that was indigenous to North Africa, the Near East, the Levant, Europe, or the Caucasus. And you guys in 2 years have not came up with one name of a tribe or nation.
Yes, brother Carla Genesis. So that is one of Yeah, videos I have with yeah,
Chief X
with
is
someone
look.
explaining about aspects of false history that's being promoted. So as I mentioned, I'm not here to say what I agree with, disagree with, and things like that. I'm just here to put it in perspective. So my brother
I agree with what you said.
John Crow also just want to also analyze on it. But go ahead, Carla.
Well, I agree with what he broke it down exactly. And there's a lot of times people don't want to hear the truth. You know, black people, your ancestors from tropical Central and West Africa. That's where 99.9% of us came. You know, and so therefore, don't tell me about, oh, we migrated. Black people, black African people did not migrate. We had no need to. The only migration was the Bantus migrated from West Africa to the Central Africa. You know, we never migrated across the continent. Say, what about the people in South in Australia? They're not genetically connected to black Africans. Your DNA goes back like 40,000 years, right? It'll trace right to Central. I did my DNA. My DNA goes back to West Africa and Central Africa, right? There's no DNA. I have no DNA from North Africa, and I had like 1% from like the Philippines. So how I got it 1% from the Philippines. But what I'm saying is this though: most black people, right? That's what our DNA. That's where we come from, right? There was no like, oh yeah, black people migrated across the world. That's another myth. You know, black people didn't need to migrate across the world because Africa was where everything was in abundance. People don't migrate because they want to. Let's go someplace else. When people got rivers, they got rain, and they got good soil, they got everything like that, they stay where they are. Europeans had to migrate because they had to find new lands and everything like that. You know, Arabs had to migrate because they had desert. They were in deserts and everything. So they had to keep conquering lands and moving on. The black Africans did not have to do that, you know? So his idea is what happens is this. Black people take on the role of Europeans. We were exploring. We didn't have to explore the damn world. We were happy right there in Africa. Europeans brought us out of Africa, you know? They had to explore the world. They had to do all this stuff like that. They had to go across the world to get spices and everything like that, right? We had everything in Africa. Do people even know that West Africa at one time was the largest trading system in the world? That goods flowed from the Silk Road in China all the way across West Africa. A lot of the goods that Europeans used came through West Africa and went into North Africa to Europe and everything. So what the heck did Africans need to go any place for? You know, they didn't make any logical sense. What
Perfect,
the biggest trading system in the world? You know, gold, everything flowed through Mali. The cities of Mali and the cities of West Africa were some of the biggest trading cities in the world. You know, so what did Africans have to migrate for? That's your real history. You know, that's what you need to be proud of, right? We didn't have to migrate to other parts of the world to survive like we do today. Africans think they got to leave Africa to survive, you know, and the answer is building Africa, you know.
Perfect, Carla. Let me, if you can just hold for a minute. John Crow, you're up, brother. I want to also get your feedback from both aspects of the video. And also, when he's finished, Carla, I want to get your perspective on one of the main part you talk about, which is the part that Dane Calloway keep on feeding people on. But John Crow, brother, if you can unmute yourself.
Yes.
I want you to comment on both part of it as far as the North Egypt situation and then in the Americas.
Well, I mean, in North Africa, I according to historians, they said that civilization spread from the south to the north. So if they spread from the south, in Sudan, you got pyramids in Sudan that predate those in Egypt. See what I'm saying? So yes, they are not, those Africans were not indigenous to that part of Africa. You see, they came from the south and moved north because you know that Nile River runs from south to north. So you know I do agree with that aspect. But what I also probably have a little disagreement with him is where he says that Africans weren't traversing across the Atlantic, because if you read what Columbus himself wrote, see, and what some of the people who were with him wrote, they said they saw Africans on boats traversing.
That's not what he said. That's not what people have revisited, and I read that. That's not what he said. You know, some people said Columbus described the people as a dark, swarthy people, right? But Columbus, right, knew Africa, right? And there was Africans that were living in Portugal and Spain at the time. They knew Black Africa, you know. And so when Columbus went to he swore that he was in Japan and China and India. That's why he called them Indians. He thought he was in India. You know, they knew who Africa was because Europeans at the time were trading with Africa, you know. So
navigators was Africans. They said some of his navigators were Africans.
This ignorant person said, "Where are the ships?" Lies.
Yeah. So the bottom line is, where are the ships that brought the Europeans here? You know. So in other words, basically, these people want to deny that. This is what I'm talking about, Jenko. You got to understand. This is a bigger thing than this, right? We have to let this thing go that we're already here, because there's people that want to erase.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
We just have to leave that. We have to leave that alone. It's pseudo history and everything. It's basically an attempt to erase our history, erase the transatlantic slave trade, and erase.
I agree with you. Hold on. I am not disagreeing with you. I totally agree with you. What is the thing is, these Negroes that are saying that they want to dip. You see, what they don't realize, you know, is that the red man is not dead, you know. I lived in Arizona and I seen them out there. Them people are alive. They ain't dead. But what happened is that these Negroes want to deprive the red people of their territorial integrity. You see what I'm saying? Because the red man still want his land back. But these Negroes side with the white man and say, no, you know, we are indigenous to this place too. You see, so they are siding with the oppressor to keep their foot on the red man neck too. But them red people still here, because I've seen them. I've been to the reservation.
I grew up in upstate New York. I grew up around Indians. A lot of them are racist.
Exactly.
You know, I grew up in upstate New York. I know Indians and I know Black people. Matter of fact, to be honest with you, right, I messed with a couple of Indian girls one night. We got them in bed. There's a real different thing. I ain't gonna say it on my show, but there's a real difference down there between the Black girl. You'll say you just know the difference, you know. And so the bottom line, genetically, you know, even though some Indians may have skin tones that look like Black people or light-skinned Black people, but the bottom line, we're two completely different races of people, you know. Yes. And the bottom line is Black people in America, right, are not indigenous to America. We're not here with the Indians and everything. We came here via the transatlantic slave trade. Until we basically accept that, right? Until we accept that. And I accept the fact that there's ignorant Black people, self-hating Black people who are going to believe that, right? But when you got people who call themselves credible scholars and everything, advancing this notion, right? That all it is why don't they just say, why don't some of these people just say, I love America, right? And sing songs like Lee Greer, I'm proud to be an American. At least, why don't they just go ahead and say that, right? Why are they going to force themselves in America? Force themselves. We're already here. So that's why I'm waving. You see some of these people even waving a red, white, blue flag. You know? They call themselves Moorish Americans. These people are they call themselves sovereign citizens, Moorish Americans. They make up all kinds of history, right? And they go on this history, right? And they got people acting crazy. Do you wonder why, when you look at the Pan-African movement and the conscious movement, it has not moved one year. Matter of fact, it's gone backwards. It has not moved anything. What's the conscious community right now? They're doing debates on a pay-per-view debates on who's a Moor, who's an Indian, who's a this, like that. It's foolishness. And while the fact of the matter is the idea of Garveyism to build Africa, to build Afrikstan, build all stuff like this is going by the wayside because people want to basically take the easy way route, is deny it. They're in company with each other. A bunch of people that hate Africa, hate their slave heritage, deny their slave heritage, right? And they're in company with each other, right? They try to make up history. Columbus said he saw Black people. No, Columbus did not say that. You know, he said he saw. And also, when Europeans, when they call other people who are not like pure white, they'll call swarthy or dark, whatever like that. They could be talking about an Italian, they could be talking about a Greek, whatever. That don't mean the person is a black African. They'll call North Africa swarthy and dark, whatever like that. That don't mean he's talking about us. He's not talking about black Africans, you know? So we take and run with it. Oh, see, there were swarthy people, there were dark people, dark-skinned people every day. So they broaden the definition of dark races to include themselves so they can erase their true African identity.
Well, you say slavery wasn't the destruction of the body. It was the destruction of the mind. You see, so that's why they keep focusing on the mind of black people. Destroy your mind, because if I can keep you confused and disorientated, then you won't have a chance to focus. You see, and that's you're right. That's why they keep us confused, disorientated, always moving, always shifting. But I still think there is still hope for us, in spite of how it looks, you know. And I remember Carlos Cook said, he said, look, if all else dies and Africa lives, we win. So don't worry about some of these Negroes. Some of these Negroes, we don't need them in Africa. They need to stay here. They don't need to go to Africa. Because there we go have a problem. We already have problems in Africa too, you know what I'm saying? Because we know the psychological damage we have to deal with on the continent too. So these misfits here that want to stay here, let them stay here. Though, you know, we don't need them in Africa right now, brother. We just keep on doing what we're doing and focus, keep moving forward. And once Africa is strong, because that is where the power base of our people is. That's where the mass majority of black people reside, you know. So that is our focus. Don't worry about these Negroes here. You know, some of these misfits, let them stay right here with the white man. Whatever the white man gonna catch, they're gonna catch it too now. Because, you see, the world getting fed up with the foolishness they're doing. So the payback coming now. So some of these Negroes may want to swim to Africa in real short order.
Yeah, the bottom line is, as people, as I said, no one's dragging you to the continent. We're saying we know the truth. We're black people, that we're captive people inside of America, and it's time for us to have a nation of our own. It's time for us to build Africa in its glory. That's what we're saying. You know, this idea that we're already here and all this kind of stupid nonsense and everything. And also, you're only talking like a maximum of 404 years that the Africans were brought here, right? The Africans were brought here as slaves. It's 404 years, right? That's nothing in the time of human history. You know, granted, a lot of stuff happened here and everything like that, but I just think it's time for us to assess the situation, right? We're brought here against our will, right? I think we reached the pinnacle of what we could probably do in America, right? We reached the pinnacle. Black people in America have outgrown America. We've outgrown this country, you know? And the next stage is can we govern ourselves, right? Can we provide for ourselves? Can we provide our own military? Can we protect ourselves? Can we feed ourselves? Can we be among ourselves and build a culture and civilization of our own? That's the next phase, right? Sitting there arguing over stupid stuff and everything like that, like this ADOS FBA nonsense and everything. They're trying to hold on to a dying civilization, you know.
We leave them alone. That's why it's so important for the detribalized African from this part of the world to connect with Africa. See, because we are the glue. You see, that's why they don't want us in Africa. You know, a lot of the leadership in Africa don't want us either too. Because you see, they can compete with our brain thrust, but the people want us. The masses of the people. So with our detribalized mindset going into the continent, it's a threat. You see, because in Africa, as the guy was pointing out on the video, they deal with tribe. And ain't nothing wrong with tribalism. Tribalism works good within the tribe, but we have to find a way to extend it. So it includes all the tribes, and that is where the threat that they don't want us, and that is the ideology we have to push on the continent. Look, we one tribe with the African tribe. You see, and hey, don't underestimate it, because it can spread spontaneously. You see, so don't underestimate. And so I am hopeful. In spite of how dismal it look. Marcus Garvey had a little thing. He had a little quote. He said, "When all else fail to organize the people, conditions will." Some hunger pains might begin to hit them, Brother Carla, and they may have to move. You see, then they're going to have to move when them hunger pains hit them behind, when they can't feed their kids. You see, because some judgment coming to this place. You see, America is on the decline already. We see the economic decline, slowly but surely. So, as I said, we just got to prepare ourselves. We may have to prepare in Africa to collect some of these Negroes. When they come to Africa, everybody under arrest.
Yeah. Hey, Bomani, you wanted to ask me a question about the another aspect of the video?
Yes, the Dane Calloway theory. As far
Okay.
as that, we were here.
Okay. The whole thing is
what X was analyzing.
Yeah. So what he said was true. He had the Ice Age. The ages come from the Barren Straits. You want to see what indigenous people look like? You go to the extremes where there was no white or black people. You go to the Amazon jungle, and you go to the Alaska where the Eskimos are. On that whole region from Alaska all the way down to the Andes Mountain to Peru and everything. Those are the indigenous people of this hemisphere. That's what the indigenous people are. And you don't see no black. You ever see black people in any place that was a transatlantic slave trade? No. So this person, worldview, whatever the hell her name is, his or her name is, right? You don't see any black people in Alaska and Saskatchewan. You don't see any black people in those areas, right? Why? Because we're indigenous. The only black people that comes things about African America is somehow always where the black people always where the Europeans set up the slave trade. Oh, we're already here. But you're only in places where white people were. Why is that? No one can explain that. We were in Central America, right? Well, yeah, but those white people were importing slaves, but you would just happen to be there. Just a coincidence, so so you guys we were already here. It's a freaking joke, it's a joke. You guys don't even make any logical sense. Why are we debating these people and also like that? It's just mind-boggling. You can't show any black people in the state of Alaska. Why is that? We were already here. Why is it that the black people are concentrated? 99% of black people live on the eastern United States or the Caribbean or places where they had the slave trade. Oh yeah, they brought black people to places where there was already black people there and they had the slave trade. Okay. Why is there no black people in Baja California and the western part of Mexico? Why is all the black Africans that were in Mexico on the eastern part, in the eastern part, the Gulf of Mexico region? Why? Because they were slaves. They're maroons. And so why are black people? Why is so many black people coastal Indians come from South Carolina? Why they come from Texas? Why they come from Tennessee? Could it be that they were slaves? So people, they can't answer that question. So the bottom line is this: the idea that black people are already here. Just say, look, I'm an American. This is where I love and everything. Just admit it. Don't sit here and tell me that you are American because you're already here. You're American because you want to be here. and you love this country. Just say it, you know. And I can respect people like that, you know. I can respect somebody saying, yeah, you know, I looked at history over. Thomas Jefferson was a racist, George Washington was a racist, but I think this country did good. I think we came a long ways, and I have hope for America, and I would respect that, you know. Don't tell me that you're going to sit in America doing nothing and basically say you're here only because your ancestors were already here, you know. Your ancestors were already here, so that proves it here. You got black people now migrating to Tanzania. He broke it down. Black people are not indigenous to North Africa. So you got black people going to places like Tunisia, right? Trying to basically talk about, oh, we're going to take over the whole continent. You're not indigenous to that region of North Africa. But the people in North Africa have been there for 30,000 years. The black people are not in North Africa. So why is it that you're going to justify bum rushing Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, and those other places like that? Because you think that why we can't just build the areas that we populate and we control?
Well, you see what they're doing to them black people in Tunisia now. You see, they say about 1,000 Africans are right there on the border with Tunisia and Libya. Tunisia expel them out of the country, and Libya don't want to let them in. You see, so
what does that tell you? We always go into places where we're not wanted. You know.
Yeah. Well, I think them people are trying to leave though and go to Europe. They're trying to go through.
We're going to every place. That's why I said, when you know who you are, you know your real history, you know that you don't belong in Europe, you don't belong in North Africa, you don't belong trying to migrate through Mexico to get to America. You belong in Africa to build. That's what the problem with the black race is. You know, the black man does not want to build what's his. When you build what's yours, nobody can take it from you.
Well, perfect, Carla. Perfect point. And as we continue to talk about fake and real history, let me play another clip so you can analyze and get people involved. And anyone that want to join us and you want to break anything down, we're open to it. We're trying to explain the difference between real and fake history and get into the Afrikstan analysis with it. So perfect point, Carla. And so, brother, if you want to stick with us, you can stick with us. Playing another clip.
Yeah, man, I'm here.
That's it. So black nappy-head, kinky-haired people outside of sub-Saharan Africa may be only 5% of the population in the entire world outside of Africa. Prior to shipbuilding technology that took people across large bodies oceans. Follow me now. Let's go. Let me share my screen. And I'm going to play his 1 minute and 30-second video clip. And then I'm going to chop up each point he made and throw it back in his face. Okay, let me okay, there we go. Okay, here we go. First of all, I think everybody can hear me good, right? Hit a 8 if you can. Let me just play this.
In fact, the boats that Columbus used.
Now, can y'all hear that brief part of the video and me well? And I'll continue once I see some number 8s. Okay, thank you, Donnie Williams. Here we go. Let's go.
In fact, the boats that Columbus used, they were owned by Moors.
One of the most famous translators.
In fact, the boats that Columbus used, they were owned by Moors.
One of the most famous translators, his name is Mateo da Costa. He actually was one of the black translators who came from France, and he served as a translator for the Portuguese.
Columbus definitely brought black translators with him coming to the Americas. The Nino brothers, more specifically. Pedro Alonso Nino was well-renowned traveler and explorer.
But what's interesting is, why would Columbus bring translators? Because it meant that if he brought African translators, they must have been speaking to African people here. Because why do you need someone to interpret if you don't speak the language and they don't speak the language? So there had to have been a commonality between the two people.
But of course, you know, you get rid of all of that with Columbus, who didn't know where the hell he's going, but he had black people with him. Pizarro had black people with them. Balboa had black people with them. Magellan had black people with them. The technology for sailing, the astrolabe, all this stuff came from either the Moors or the Swahili.
When Columbus came to one of the islands and he brought one of his black translators with him, it's documented that the translator came off the boat, went into the Aboriginal society, and immediately started to communicate with the Aboriginal people there. That means that there had to have been some type of previous contact for them to understand each other's language. In fact, the boats that...
That is such... Hold on. Come on back to me. That is such hogwash. Every single claim made in that 1 minute and 30-second clip is total bullshit and hogwash and fake ass history. Prove that shit, Chief X. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Point by point.
Columbus used, they were owned, the boats that Columbus used, they were owned by Moors.
Pause right there. Let's pause right there. He said the boats that Columbus used were, let me just hear it again. Make sure.
The most famous
In fact, the boats that Columbus used, they were owned by Moors.
He said the boats that Columbus used were owned by Moors. When he says that, he's under the impression or trying to tell you in talking that old played out shit that Moors are black people. They are not black people. Web Funk, are you talking about me crazy or Tariq Nasheed? Because I've blocked you before. And I said I only block people for habitual disrespect. I don't block nobody for disagreeing or arguing with me. But maybe you're talking about Tariq Nasheed. Okay, I see. Thank you. I had to be clear because I've been seeing you last week on other people's site slander me. Watch your step over here. Okay, we good. Well, let us be good when you're on them other people's live streams, okay? Because I see you. I see everything. Okay, so he's telling people and teaching people in his previous things that Moors were black people. Moors were not black people, y'all. Let me go show you. Moors were Arabs and Berbers who conquered the Iberian Peninsula, aka Spain. Black folk ain't had nothing to do with conquering Spain or the Iberian Peninsula. Black folks weren't Moors. This is what a Moor is. See, what happened in the conscious community, people got to tripping on on the etymology of the word Moor. That threw people off and played a mind game. Fuck the etymology of the word. Worry about who a Moor is, not the etymology of the word Moor. Because when you get into the etymology, you may see that it means dark, and then people just gonna all automatically equate it to black people because they see it means dark or whatever, erroneously. Worry about who a Moor is, and this is who a Moor is. A Moor is a member of a northwestern African Muslim people of mixed Berber and Arab descent. You niggas ain't of no Berber or Arab descent at all. In the 8th century, they conquered the Iberian Peninsula, but were finally driven out of their last stronghold in Granada at the end of the 15th century. So you guys have to get into dates and chronology. Anywhere you look up what a Moor is or who the Moors are, they're Berbers and Arabs. And Berbers and Arabs enslaved West and Central Africans, Sub-Saharan Africans. Okay? Berbers and Arabs are not you. Moors are not black people. They're people all around Morocco and Algeria, but they don't even go by that name. So it's just an old played out name. Okay? So first thing he was wrong about. Let's continue.
one of the most famous translators. His name is Mateo da Costa. He actually...
Oh my God, girl. Who is this chick and where does she come from? She has no credentials or no nothing. She's spouting nonsense, but let's go.
Was one of the leaders. His name is Mateo da Costa. He actually was one of the Black translators who came from France, and he served as a translator for the Portuguese.
Columbus
Pause. They keep saying these people were translators and shit. Let me kill that noise real quick, but let me hear him say he's gonna say the same bullshit. Watch.
definitely brought Black translators with him coming to the Americas. The Nino brothers, more specifically. Pedro Alonso Nino was well-renowned traveler and explorer.
Well, what's interesting is why would Columbus bring translators? Because it meant that if he brought African translators, they must have been speaking to African people here. Because why do you need someone to interpret if you don't speak the language and they don't speak the language? So there had to have been a commonality between the two people.
This is they call him Baba Kaba Khomeini. He used to be Booker T. But Kaba Khomeini, he's a devil. He is the same man who teach melanin gives you superpowers, and he knows better. He is an intentional liar and deceiver, and that's why he's in this video. It sounds good. He may sound sweet, but sometimes in the good book it says the devil can come. What is that? What is that verse? The devil will come sounding like an angel of light, but he's still the devil with his tricks, right? So they're talking about translators. Watch this.
But of course, because it meant that if he brought
well-renowned Pedro Alonso Nino was well-renowned.
Pedro Alonso Nino and all these translators, she said it, he said it. Well, let's go. Why did they even mention translate? This is how ignorant of history they are. First of all, they couldn't translate. You know why? Watch. Here we go. Columbus Day interpreters. Columbus Day and interpreters. Let's just read. Columbus brought Luis de Torres, an interpreter, with him during his first voyage. De Torres spoke Hebrew, Aramaic, Spanish, Portuguese, French, Latin, and some Arabic. Pause right there, people. The Native Americans didn't speak none of those languages. Therefore, he can't interpret. Let's go. Because he expected to encounter Asians. That's why he brought interpreters. But they failed to tell you that in the video. Because they didn't know and they're ignorant of history. They just race hustling you guys. Okay, let's read it again. Torres, an interpreter with him, Columbus brought Luis de Torres, an interpreter, with him during his first voyage. De Torres spoke Hebrew, Aramaic, Spanish, Portuguese, French, Latin, and some Arabic. Because he expected to encounter Asians, Columbus felt de Torres' proficiency in Hebrew and Aramaic would be particularly useful. Because they didn't know, he figured, hey, he might come into some motherfucking Asians, right? However, this is what they failed to tell you. De Torres' proficiency in these languages was of little use in communicating with the natives who spoke an entirely different language. Sit the fuck down with that dumb shit. So what happened? Columbus had to rely on indigenous interpreters.
All right, my good brothers. All right, so just played another short clip right there, and I have another one once we finish these discussions.
Yo, he eating those alive, man. Cabo and all those other people, these dudes are absolute liars. You know, Cabo's with a white woman one time, a couple of years ago. You know, she talking about Abubakar. Some white woman came in there talking about she's into the conscious movement. Had her with Cabo and Professor Valentine. These are the people that destroyed this movement, right? These people that destroyed it. They purposely got in this movement, right, to destroy the real Black nationalist Pan-African cultural links, you know, with this pseudo history. You know, this idea that with Tariq Rashid has a real hatred. He's a colorist. He has a real hatred of his blackness and Black Africa. You know, he really does hate that. So he's, oh man, the indigenous people of Africa. On one hand, they say they're not Africans. Then they try to say the people over here were Africans they were talking about and everything. And so they're already here and all this kind of freaking nonsense and everything. They don't know what they talk out two sides of their mouth. You know? So the bottom line, you know, it's sad. But the thing is, though, you got people out there, man, I got every edition of color, man. I got every edition of hidden color. I never seen one hidden color. I seen one preview to the first hidden color. I said, I'm not watching this shit. Never bought it. Never went to see it. Never anything. Because Tariq Nasheed is he's a grifter. He's a con man. He's everything like that. Everything Pan Am Strikes Back said about him was right, you know? Now he created this ADOS FBA movement, you know? He's just basically playing this game. These people are playing with black people's lives, you know? And that's why I said we have to have this platform as a place. And I appreciate Chief X because he's one of them. I don't know if he agrees with what we're trying to do and everything, but at least we're connected with the real history of Africa and we're trying to build from there, you know? And that's
that's my good brother, man. And, you know, and you're the one that recommended him to travel with us. I told
him, I said, you want to travel Africa, go with Brother Bomani.
It's always good connecting good people. You know, and I appreciate anyone that just want to challenge the game because let me just flip over real quick. You know, as you and I talk about one time, the bar is set so low,
exactly.
Where, some of us have to hold the line and and step the game up to where we have higher level of standards, because that's the thing of it is like anyone can feed us any kind of information and we just scope it up. It's just like I was telling people about that con artist RJ Mahdi. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because he presents himself a certain way and he make these little videos and things like that, don't mean that he's not doing the things that I'm telling people that he did to members of mine and things like that. You know, selling fraudulent investment memberships and not following through consultations or connecting people with other crooks and criminals and masterminds. These folks have embarrassed the Black Power, Black conscious movement. All of it all together. Whichever way you want to call it. And things. You and I focus more on Pan-Africanism and nationhood. But general basis of these things are also based on the world of Black consciousness. So us learning and studying certain things. So our brother's basically saying that some of the things that we were taught and pushed on and things like that, and so he's challenging the status quo. So and you're like, okay, if whoever feels that he's not coming strong, the brother does keep himself open and available for you to challenge him. That's what I love about it, man. The brother got nothing but heart, man. So like I'm telling people, I'm not saying I agree or disagree or whichever points I agree or disagree with.
I agree everything he's saying.
We as a people have to, challenge what what are we being told and what we're being presented with, because if we're passing along generations, or I should say lies to generations, what I'm saying, what we doing, I'm saying, like, my boys back there and playing with his friends and they're enjoying their summer and everything, their games and everything, but like I'm always telling them that this is a real world that we live in, and it's made up of nothing but fake people. So and then people selling people a dream, but what we're doing here with when you see me with the business that we're running, Africa to African, Black Star, Pan-African community, and our technology operation is just being real with our people, building real relationships with them and saying, hey, let's do things together, let's do some Black owned business operations together, let's connect together, look out for each other, and let's build something together. So these people that you hear the names pop up, a lot of people like celebrities or they're into like fantasies and things like that, and they want but we're not. That's not who we are. Me and Carla we're not celebrities. We're not here to sell you a dream or fantasy. We're here to be real with you and here to explain to you all the hard work that you have to actually put in to actually build what we're looking to build, and not getting married to false information and things like that. So one of the biggest things that I have, me personally have an issue with is all the things about people talking about we were here, we were here. This disconnect our connection from the Americas to Africa, which is what we focus on, building that strong connection to where we can just get into, get in and compete with all these other nations and races of people in the world. So, family, my good brother Carla is going to share some more, and then my other brother is going to share some more, and then I got another video to play, and today's Chief X Day, you know what I mean? But I need to use some clips from someone that was challenging the system as far as the history and things like that. And not a lot of people are gonna challenge the names that he's challenging, and it's what it is. I personally wouldn't either. But then again, I'm not a researcher as far as history like that. I use what I can. I use what I need to use to push our movement and keep us grounded and connected. But this brother is going into details, and so we do need different aspects of us to do different things, especially that. So, brother Kyle, I'm hoping that you're enjoying both clips. And
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
And I'm not. And some of the. It seemed like half of the audience is not very happy with the videos
because we're telling the truth. Yeah, that's what happens.
Not happy with the direction that's going with the conversation about history and how so much of it has been faked and we've been lied and bamboozled and sold a dream.
Yeah, sold a nightmare, to tell you the truth.
But you see, what we have to do, what we have to do.
Go ahead.
What we have to do, is to bring our best history forward. You see, we have to bring our best history forward, and we still have a lot of work because I say they say we are at 2 million years old. We've been here 2 million years, so we have a lot of work to do to dig up more history. More historians, more Dr. Benz, more Dr. Clarks, to go and research our history and bring it forward, because...
Let me say why I disagree with that. The history right there is there. Documented, everything like that. Everything you hear me say and everything like that, I read all types of scholars, white, black, whatever like that, and I got a clear view, and I read hundreds of books in my life, And basically, I have a clear vision about what happened in the world and what did not happen in the world, right? And so the problem is this. You don't have historian. What you have is people, historian revisionists, right? People have I think if you let real history, just the way history was, when you hear Marcus Garvey talk, right? All the stuff he talked about with history and everything like that just came from white anthropologists, white historians, and everything. He studied in the libraries of London, everything, and he created the greatest mass movement in the Black history. Had Malcolm X. He sat there. He said all he did was read books and everything like that. He didn't try to rewrite history. He did not try to do anything like that. He just said, "Okay, I know what happened in the past. Now we'll do it." These people have no intentions of doing anything in the future. Most of this history that you're hearing from the hidden colors, everything, started with prisoners, started people in jail. They get in jail and they start making up history. And just like a criminal learns how to scheme and lie, to steal, to circumvent the rule of law, they basically want to do the same thing with history. They steal people's history. It's like they went from jacking people's cars to jacking people's history, It's like that. Goddamn, man. You got Native American like, damn, man, you just jacked my history.
Remember Malcolm X was a criminal lawyer, remember?
But Malcolm X was...
Malcolm X was Detroit red, so we can write off some old people.
Yeah, he's a reform man.
Yes. These guys, I guess that's why the people...
Brother Jake wrote, these guys come out of jail and they're not reformed. They just know how to do, like Polite and all these other people, they know how to do the same hustle and con that they do in jail.
They don't have no program. They don't have a...
If you're going to do that, man, if you're going to go out there and sell drugs, sell whatever like that, hey, like that. But when you start coming into Black history and stuff like that, and you don't have no respect, you just make up history as you go along because it's making you money and everything, it's easy to tell people a lie in history because people are going to pay money. People pay big money to hear these lies in history. They want to hear that, because it gives them a thing, oh, wow, man, we're already here and all stuff like this, So
yeah, brother, that fake stuff, the fake Pan-Africanism, fake consciousness, have made so much money. You know what I'm saying? But the thing of it is, what if they kept it real and actually invested in building something real? Okay, with fakeness, nothing's gonna come from it good. It just con artists after con artists after con artists.
They're scared of Pan-Africanism, brother. They are scared to
Yeah,
death.
real pan.
Yes, I can tell you from experience being in a third generation or fourth generation of Marcus Garvey movement in New York City, right? We used to have forums in Harlem at Harriet Tubman School. And yes, and when they bring the white people to have to speak, the forum bumper, you standing room only, okay? When you say, all right, next week the Pan-Africanists, we need some, we're gonna have our meeting, Pan-African, back to Africa, Namibia, blah 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 blah. You could count the people on one hand. You see, so they're scared of Pan-Africanism. You see, they don't, but that is the solution. That is the solution. So they're running, but they can't run from this, because it's Pan-Africanism or perish. And the further they run away from it, is the tougher it's gonna get. Because as we see, it's not getting easier out here in this world that we're living in. In fact, war and calamity is taking out is happening more frequently now.
They don't care anything about that. They don't care about the crime. They don't care about anything. All they care about is getting fame, making money, and getting the bag. That's all they care about. And misleading people, screwing people's mind up. Let me tell you something, right? And I tell the story all the time, right? When you believe a lie, right? I had this one guy that I used to work with. I think I was like 25 at the time, right? I worked at this restaurant called Darryl's in Norfolk, right? It was back in the 90s, right? And I was back in the early 90s, right? Anyway, there's one guy that worked with us, right? This older black guy, man. You could tell back in the days he was good looking, afro, slim, everything like that, right? But the dude was 38 years old, right? No, wait a minute. How old was he at the time? 38, I think he was 38 or maybe even 48, right? It was an older brother, right? But it was kind of thick, And basically, when he first came in, we found out his real age. It was like in his 40s, whatever, like that. He used to always tell people that he was our age. He was like, I'm only 28. Nigga, how you 28? And he started believing it, and to the point. I saw this guy like 10 years later, like 10, like, 90s, 2000. Okay, I saw him like 12 years later, right? And he was in Home Depot where somebody doing a thing. And the guy got really old, like he's like in his 60s, right? He's real old, right? And he's telling me he's still saying that he was 28 years old. His mind, you can see his mind had completely was destroyed because he could not face the fact that he was getting older. So he'd be in denial about his age. That's what happens when you mess somebody's mental. You tell them they're Indian and everything like that. They're going to go out there and try to bleach their skin. They're going to try to straighten their hair. They're going to you're messing people's minds up. And what gets me is a lot of these people are actually believing this stuff, that they're not Africans, that they're already here. And so by the time these people get older, like this worldview people, they're going to be messed up in their head. She's not going to be able to enjoy her senior years. She's not going to look back in her life and say, yeah, this and the other thing. She's going to be at her life saying, I believe that I'm Indian and everything like that. And then she's going to be an old woman, crazy. And
Yeah, how do you know it's a female?
Because it's a picture.
I'm gonna close with this. I don't think black people need leadership right now. I think we need drivership. I think we have to get behind our people and push them forward. Don't get in front of them and talk about you're gonna lead. With the mental condition of the people right now, they will shoot you in the back. These Negroes will shoot you in the back. So get behind these Negroes and push. See? Tell us, look, I got something here. If you don't move, I got something worse than what the white man going to put on you to push them forward. Because that is what got us in the predicament we are in and keep us in the predicament we are in. It is, they know what the white men going to put on them if they come out and talk about nationalism. So they're scared. So get behind them and push them. Say, look, Negro, you're gonna move. Cause if you don't move, I got something here for you. That's the only way. You talking and all this. If it could be done by talking, it would have been done already. Cause so many came before us.
You right about that?
Well, perfect point, man. I want to see if you can stick around for another short clip.
Okay.
Then you come up to date, then you get Sebi and Queen Afua and Red and Blue Pill and Dr. Ali Muhammad, you know what I mean? The guy Yoda and shit, you know what I mean? Red and Blue Pill's little brother, what's his cat name? KT the Arch Degree. We're going to get into all that today. So, you have Sebi and Queen Afua and Phil Valentine, the patriarchs and matriarchs. And under them are their students who they taught to scam and to teach fake health information to. And all them people under them claim they can kill cancer, lupus, it can cure anything. And they tell you, fuck them professionals, we got you. Like, check it out. I got a video right here called Dr. Ali Muhammad Deserves Prison Time. It's on my page. He says he has the indigenous cure for lupus. There is no cure for lupus. My aunt died of lupus. So some of this shit these niggas teach black folk and tell black folk is disrespectful and gets under my fucking and chaps my hide. This nigga got videos saying he cured cancer, Ali Muhammad. These are Dr. Sebi clones. These are Sebiites. It's all a big cult. And I said Ali deserves prison because I exposed him on another video, not just this one. You can find the video Ali Muhammad Exposed Big Time. That's the name of it. Ali Muhammad Exposed Big Time. And he has this machine and he connects this thing to your finger and it's supposed to read the pulse throughout your body and tell you everything that's wrong with you. If you got this disease, if you got that disease, if you need this meds. And then he goes on and prescribes a medicine from you based off this scam machine he has. Y'all remember that? This is a nigga who Sanetter just a week ago, no, just 3 days ago, Sanetter saying this dude is great, is amazing, and is a master teacher on health and nutrition. Just 2 days ago, Sanetter is pumping this nigga up like he's a master teacher. Hold on, y'all. Hello? And he was talking alkaline foods, which is a spinoff of that shit. Then I realized alkaline water is a fucking scam because I was researching what I was selling or trying to sell. Them ionizers cost $4,000 at that time. I sold one. But then I researched and found out it was a bunch of bullshit. Alkaline foods and alkaline water don't do a motherfucking thing. It's scam talk. Whatever you drink or eat, soon as it hits your motherfucking throat, it becomes acidic. And hits your stomach, it becomes acidic. So what was the point of eating or drinking anything alkaline? As soon as it hits your insides, it becomes acidic. I started thinking and using my fucking common sense. Then I watched 2 MDs talk about this alkaline water craziness, alkaline talk, and they was just totally debunking it as nonsense. Actually, cancer starts in an alkaline body, not an acidic body. Because everybody listening to me right now, everybody, bar none, your blood pH is 7.4. If it deviates just a little, your ass is going to go into a coma and or die. So whether you drink a gallon of alkaline water and I drink a gallon of Coca-Cola, we're still going to have the same blood pH. It does nothing. So here it is. Donnie Williams says, get your gold water. Speaking of gold water, look here, family. Bam. Right here. Interesting you said that, Donnie. Right here. Who was selling gold water and acting like this the end all be all will cure your ass? Charlatans I have. 4 years ago, I told you niggas that they was frauding you. This was actually about 5 years ago. What does this title say? Charlatans, frauds, and red pill in his gold water. Blue and red pill was selling gold water, acting like it's the end all be all. Acting like it's going to heal you and help you and cure you. I had to go to their website.
Water by boiling pure gold, silver, or copper with water and straining it.
And broke it down. Blue and red pill been scamming and lying forever about everything. All you got to do is go to their website. They charge you $100 for 4 ounces of sink water and tell you it's gold water. It's really some tap water. You get 2 and 4 ounces of some fucking tap water, and you got to pay $100 or whatever it is. I'm on their website. Go to their website. I showed and proved. All you got to do is go to this video right here. Charlatans, frauds, and red pill in his gold water. What do I have in the description here? Red pill, blue pill, Minister Inky, Brother Polite, Dr. Ali Muhammad, KT the Arch Degree, and others all claim or allude to cure incurable diseases. The gatekeepers of false health information are these people. I've been told you that. You guys didn't give a fuck. I told y'all this 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. This is May 22, 2019. I think I made this in 2018. It was just on Facebook and I downloaded it to YouTube. All these niggas right here, blue pill, red pill, Minister Inky, Brother Polite, Dr. Ali Muhammad, KT the Arch Degree. I don't have the other brothers. It's some other brothers I don't have on here. But they're all Dr. Seti clones and students of Dr. Sebi, Queen Afua, and Phil Valentine. They all should be called out now. Claiming he can cure lupus. I said he needs prison. KT the Arch Degree. I have a video on him 4 years ago. KT the Arch Degree selling toxic poison. I've been trying to warn you niggas about these clowns. I have in the description, KT the Arch Degree is a charlatan, fraud, and habitual liar. He is selling poison to the community. He has for years done fake made-up movie reviews and needs to be sat down as soon as possible. He is a fake healer, just like Minister Inky, fake Dr. Ali Muhammad, and Red and Blue Pill allows this farce and shame to go down in the movement. Shame on these men and they daddy Phil Valentine. I made this in 2018. Bro, Polite has been scamming, and I've been telling these niggas I used to send. Listen, bro. This is in 2018, 4 years ago. This is on my channel. I interviewed the brother. I showed all the receipts.
I've seen all the receipts I've shown you, and they are receipts. There is proof of this. No one's just talking. And later on, after this video, I'll post them. And one other thing that disturbed me, Craig, and this happens, like, I was married before, I've been in relationships and lived with women. And if I make a decision for the family.
Okay, pause. This is me interviewing a guy named Craig, who Polite scammed out of $4,000. We did the live interview and I was exposing this shit and nobody gave a fuck. We showed the receipts. We showed Polite's bank account. $4,000 he took from this man you see in the video and nobody gave a fuck. Not Garfield didn't give a fuck. Did Garfield talk about this? No, because Garfield has been supporting Polite all the way up until he just pleaded guilty. Ankh was supporting this shit and still today supporting Polite. Ankh has not apologized. Ankh has not made a decision. Ankh has not denounced this nigga yet. And they seen all these receipts 5 years ago I had up on Polite. Come on, man. Stop it. In the description right here. And you guys didn't know about this because they didn't want to talk about it. They wanted to keep making money off of Polite. They wanted to keep pushing Polite on the community. They wanted to push Polite on the community so much until he beat the people out of $1 million and raped women.
Yes, my brothers, we are back. We are back. Yes, John Crow, what you think about that clip right there? Talk to me.
Well, wouldn't blame wouldn't blame them so much, because goddamn Clifford Dollar, goddamn TD Jakes, they ever pimp the people too. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we not gonna really blame them too much. We blame the goddamn people. That's who I blame. It's the people. Because some of the goddamn, hold on, some of the people them know the truth,
You're blaming the victims, brother.
No, hold on. Some of the goddamn people them know the truth too, You think so, them are dumb? Some of these damn people know the truth. I'm telling you, remember I told you we have them forums and all them Negroes came there and they know the truth. But they refuse.
I know you're gonna scam me out of $4,000 and I just give it to you.
Brother, TD Jake scam them every damn day, every Sunday. Every Sunday, black people they at church. I get scammed. How much $1 million every Sunday? And take it and put it in the white people bank. So I'm say, yeah, it's wrong what these Negroes doing.
You can't use my crypto dollar, which is a professional, person in this business. Well, I mean,
a professional hustler.
I mean,
well, look, a lot of these guys,
whatever his title is. But what I'm saying is, we can't justify what someone like as his.
They know what I say, but a lot of these people.
I mean, well, what I'm saying. versus what our so-called black conscious, black pan-African
Well,
brothers
hold on there.
are
A lot
supposed to
of
be
them.
leaders and supposed to be people who represent us, and they've taken advantage of us, and that's based on my brother
That's true.
presentation that I've shared,
That is
and
true.
that's what
That
we do.
is true.
We're just sharing presentations so people can analyze the situation. And I'm trying to get someone on here to challenge.
That is true. That
the
is true.
videos
But
we talk about. So what we have to do as a black conscious pan-African groups of people is, you know what I mean, we have to set the tone to where we have better leadership, to where the people who are so-called leading us, you know, are people of stature that's shown, you know, that are literally just doing the right thing. You know, people order things from here all the time, whether it's books, consultations, tours, technical service, you know, real estate business, whatever the situation is, and you know, and you do your best to make sure everybody gets what they paid for, you know. And so what we're saying is that it's not fair to people like myself and Carla, where we're working all day doing the right thing. He's building this agency, and I'm building my business enterprise, and we out here handling business and taking care of people, while other people get to just get rich off this taking advantage of people, and it just
but
goes
the
on,
people
goes
don't
on.
gravitate to you. They don't gravitate to you and Carla. You see? Them gravitate to them, the people who are scam them.
Yes,
You see me, I say?
yes, but the thing of it is, some of them, you know, me and Carla, you see how we are. We're roughnecks, and I'm saying we're not.
They've never been challenged.
We're not
before.
any little smooth little cute things and lying to people and everything. We're always real with people. We show people what we do and things like that, and we've been around for a while in the same game right here. And there's no one out there running a bunch of claims and saying that, oh, Bomani did this to them, or you know, Carla got a much cleaner record than myself. You know me. If you do business with so many hundreds of people, you're gonna have one or two people that are upset with you for something. You know what I mean? Maybe, you know what I'm saying, maybe, you know, maybe they thought they was getting a 5-star hotel and they got a 3-star hotel. I mean, it could be something as simple as that. But what I'm saying to you is, you know, we're around to where you see what we're doing. People are not making videos like that and saying, hey, this is what these guys are doing. I mean, there's a bunch of people making hating videos of us, but they
exactly,
can never say, hey,
exactly. That's what me I say. That's what
like
me I
tell
say.
people, you know, at my worst, the hardest is land business that you do, and you try to make sure you give people back whatever you can give them back. If they cancel, change their mind, or if people want land, you give them their paperwork and give them access to what they need to do. And you just you have issues with people, you just try to just make it right with them, work it out. You just figure it out, you know. But if you just literally just like turn your back against people and literally just, you know, it's a big difference. In some cases, it may be a thin line, but it's like we have groups of our people, and whether it's Black conscious, Pan-Africanism, whatever movement you want to call it, and it's just they're steering our people in a direction where it's not sustainable, and when it's gonna kill the future vision and dreams of our ancestors who built Liberia, or you know, Marcus Garvey and the UNI efforts and energy to connect us to Africa, and then our modern day energy of what we're building. So that's why we're talking about the situation, and that's why Carla brought up this excellent topic again, family. And
Let me just say this before, because I have to go to bed.
Because I know you have to roll.
The
Real
bed,
Black
but
history will unify and free our people. So that's what we're trying to just make sure that we
yes,
get clear of.
yes, we got to
But,
bring.
brother, continue what you're doing. Last I finished up, you're blaming the victims, but don't let me cut you
No,
off.
no. Hold on, let me say. Hear me say. All our people ain't no victims now. As I say, some of these people know what the hell they're doing. You see, them know what them are do. The things that them don't know. Them know, but you see, it not benefit them to be a Pan-Africanist. It not benefit to be Pan-Africanism. There is no reward in being a Pan-Africanist. There is pain. There is sufferation. There is ostracization being a Pan-Africanist. But me and you and Carla know say this are the truth. We know say this are the road. And if them forget freedom, them have to go fall in line with this road. You see, so all we have to do is stay upon the road. You know, yeah, them out there, yeah, get criticism and everything, you know, but you know eventually, it's like what Du Bois said. Remember, Du Bois was a fight Garvey. Du Bois was a fight Garvey tooth and nail, you know. At the end of Du Bois' life, when Dubai have to run and go to Ghana, what him say? Him say Garvey was right. Take him whole heap of years to say that. But him have to come home to Garvey. So all we have to do is keep on the road where we depend. Don't worry about them. You're going to get people tell you, oh, we are them people that remember when I first started with Pan-Africanism. Them say, oh, him in a cult. Oh, him crazy. Oh, him this. And now, so them same people, them, me see them dress up in African clothes. So it's like a drip. It's like a water. You see, it drip, 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 but it be cut through the rock there. It be cut through granite. So all we have to do is just be consistent, you know. Don't get elated or depressed. Just stay upon the track where we depend. Anyway, gentlemen.
All right, brother.
Thanks
for the input. Thanks for joining us.
All right.
All right. Yeah, like I said, my whole thing is, as I posed the topic tonight, if we know true history, then you know the future, right? And you could pick off all these charlatans. Let me give you an example, right? How are people going to listen to somebody, Tariq? He lives in a white neighborhood. His mother-in-law is white, He doesn't even allow his wife to post family pictures up because he knows there'll be a bunch of white folks in the background, He doesn't let her post up any holiday pictures up online and everything because people are like, oh, there's white folks in there. So the bottom line, he's driving around. One day he was in his car talking about male and female relations, black male relations. He was in what's that part of Beverly Hills? That nice fancy part, Rodeo Drive. He's driving on Rodeo Drive in a convertible Bentley. If you can't see, and what gets me is there's a lot of people that come into this movement, right, who want to destroy the righteousness of the Pan-African cause, and so therefore they want to be able to do the same thing that they do, just like Shaggy has a song out called "The Church of Heathens." Yeah, that's on the Church of Heathens, And a preacher gets up there and says, "I know you got out there drinking, and you're drinking." He was in a Jamaican church, He said, "You sound like the pastor sound like Jacob right here." The bottom line is people want to go to. That's why they gravitate to T.D. Jakes, because T.D. Jakes says he's involved on sin, right? When you go to church, you're supposed to hear that preacher speak, and you're supposed to be under condemnation. Damn, I ain't living right. I want to do right. When you go to the Nation of Islam, right, you got to change. You got to transform. Let me tell you what transformation is, right? It's like a caterpillar. A caterpillar doesn't want to stay a caterpillar forever, right? It knows it's going to have to go through a chrysalis, a metamorphosis to change. And then out of that chrysalis comes something new, a beautiful butterfly, You got a lot of black people who don't want to, they want to be a caterpillar and stay a caterpillar their whole life. They don't want to go through this transformation. They don't want to learn their truth. When you go through that, when the caterpillar goes through that metamorphosis, right, that's the truth. It's basically his body's changing. He's evolving wings, and he's going to change from a caterpillar to a chrysalis, and then a chrysalis, out of which a chrysalis emerge a butterfly to spread its wings and fly. What we want to do is sit back in the state, and we don't want to evolve. We don't want to change. We don't want to go through a metamorphosis and everything. And these people want to keep us in the same thing. Why? Because it's easy. I want to be able to come to church every day and go and work at a strip club on the weekend. And pastor such and such. No, you want to go to a Pan-African movement, right? And still go out there, run with white girls and do all stuff like this. You want to go out there and do all kind of nonsense and everything. And you want to call yourself a Pan-Africanist, That's when they say about me and Bomani, like, no, you can't do that. You have to change. You have to You have to be committed to building Africa, And you got people like, oh, I love America. I love America. I love America. America. We were already here and everything. Why? Because you don't want to go through this process. When you become an African and you believe in this idea of an Afrikstan or Black African infrastructure, you're going to have to lose something, You're going to have to lose something. Look, this country has done a lot for me. I have a wonderful business, a house, everything, right? But I'm willing to go through that change necessary to what? To have ultimate freedom. And that's what basically comes from a nationhood, right? You don't want to go through the process of nationhood. Nationhood means you being honest with yourself. You're honest with yourself. Ultimate honesty. Who am I? How did I get here? How am I in this situation? How do I get out of this situation, right? When you look at these grifters and these people out here selling this fake history, you're not going to get anywhere with that. Why do you think this guy can walk off with Polite can walk off with $4,000 this guy's money? And the guy's right. It is people's fault because they fall for it. Because they think they're going to keep doing what they want to do, right? This guy gave Polite $4,000. He wouldn't listen to Carla Genesis. Because I'm going to tell him.
Carla, are you also blaming the victims?
No, I'm not blaming the victims. No, I'm not blaming victims. But I am saying that people look at this thing and they think that, okay, I'm going to take the easy road out, right? I see Polite running around white girls. I see Polite running around with nice clothes on and everything like that, running streets. I don't see him talking about Africa. I don't see him talking about buildings. So let me get behind this guy, right? Because they think he's popular, and that's what it is. They want to get behind people that want to tell them what they want to hear. Just like you'll have, look at Pastor Jano Jenkins. He spits fire and brimstone. He tells people, we come to this church, you come to the house of the Lord, this is the way you be. Boom, 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 right? His church ain't packed like T.D. Jakes. Because T.D. Jakes is not going to tell people all that. Jamal Bryant, he said, I didn't know that. Pastor Jenkins said, my little punk cousin, Jamal Bryant, Atlanta, that's my cousin. He goes, this guy is full of sin and everything like that, doing all kinds of stuff, slept with one of his church, a church woman pregnant and stuff like that. He said, that's my cousin. He said, his church will always be bigger than mine because he will basically get people in there that won't come under any condemnation. When you talk about Pan-Africa, there has to be some condemnation. You have to have some condemnation. What I always said, we said the show the other night, right? We played the two national anthems, America and Liberia. Which one do you feel connected with? If you didn't feel nothing after we read the Declaration of Independence of Liberia, there's something wrong. You can't call yourself a Pan-Africanist. You can't if you basically listen to the words of Hillary Teague, right? He was speaking to your condition, an honest thing. That was you. The people benighted, people neglected, our human desire. For this cause that we could declare ourselves as independent people, that we could rise to the top of the thing. Isn't that what we say we're fighting for? Our own dignity, to be human, everything like that. So that Constitution was written for you. But nobody wants to pick up that Constitution. Why? Because that means that, man, I might have to one day leave America. I might want to have to build America. I might be in conflict with America one day, I might have to, everything I know. So what they do is they find people that make them feel comfortable in what they're at. Well, I can feel conscious and everything like that, but I don't have to give nothing up. I don't have to give up my partying, my whiskey, my women, and everything like that, I don't have to give up my 4th of July celebrations. I don't have to give up all the stuff like this. I can just keep doing what I'm doing. So therefore, they'll follow people like Polite and all these other people in the conscious community because those people aren't asking them. Pan-Africanism is really a transformation, Either you want to be nothing, right? Or you want to pull together with your people and build something new. And that's what the Pan-African movement is all about. You cannot call yourself Pan-Africanism and basically say, okay, where do we see yourself in 100 years after you're long and gone? We're going to be sitting, you're still going to be 120 cities, be having debates about who's a Hebrew, who's a Moor? Or you would like to see us with new cities on the African continent that we transplant and everything like Bomani and I are working on. And people have to make a choice, right? If you believe that the conscious community and everything like that is the right way to do, okay, that's what I'm saying. 100 years from now, that's exactly what they're going to do. Now, the only thing they could do is make sure that we fail. That's why they try to crush us, because we're the ones giving a real alternative to all this nonsense. I've been listening to Chief X for years. I saw that video where he was put like 5 years ago. I've been listening to Chief X for like 6-7 years now. And he's came to the conclusion. These people are not building anything. All these people is people trying to sell books, sell TV, sell tapes, everything, get rich and look big, and look important. There's no end game. They have no long-term plan.
Absolutely, Brother Carla, absolutely. And I want to play another short clip.
Right.
I'm hoping these short clips are kind of just making sure.
You're breaking. He's making my point. The more you're playing, the less I have to say tonight, because he's making all my points about history, fake history, versus real history. Real history will set us free because we know who we
Yes,
are. And
definitely. This is our good brother Dion. Greetings, Dion.
what's
Send
up,
me that
Dion?
video. So I have the video posted in the description box. But Dion, what I'm doing is I'm copying it to you, all three videos that I've played today, and that's basically the reference for the videos. That's all three of them.
And I'm gonna talk about Liberian history next after this video.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So that's it, brother. I got it. I want to show my son. That's what's up. Yeah, some of them are very interesting. But like I mentioned to you, you know, and we talked about earlier, brother Carla. The bar is set so low to where we have to just step it up, and that's one of the things that we have to do. We have to challenge. If what we've been taught, we've been educated, is it been truthful, righteous, uplifting, or is it just been to just bamboozle us and confuse us? So those are things that we have to all think about and process. And this is things that literally just opening your minds and just literally just letting you see this and analysis from a high level. So, but the brother always say that if you don't agree with him, he can come and challenge him because he don't play with the debate. But yes, so
Boom. 2 weeks later. Does so people liked him. But this is what charlatans do. You gotta put some cheese on the trap. I got that state. Sarah Sue said it. You gotta be likable to lure people in. But when you're educated and know better, you can see through that and say, this motherfucker's just gaming us. Oh, this motherfucker's hip, slick, and cool. Oh, he got good stories. And he's a great storyteller. Oh, he's funny. He's hilarious. So that makes us, Dr. Sebi is cool. Oh, but all the while, Wiggle Man, how do you not know he's a charlatan? What are you talking about? God damn, y'all. Are you serious? Bro, I got $1,000 right now to you, Wiggle Man, or any human on the planet. I got $1,000 if you can prove that Sebi ever cured one person of anything in his entire life. Go. His entire life of anything. All right, let me I'm telling. So I'm gonna give you a pass since you didn't know. It's everything. So people believe the case. He said, was that case a lie? The case is on my YouTube channel. We have his entire court records going through them. Let me just show you real quick. Bear Let me just fix that real quick. Oops. 4 years ago, actually 5, before Sebi passed, I have all these debunking Sebi videos, right? And this is a medical student. He has a master's degree. He's going for his PhD. Probably has his PhD right now. But as you see, it says medical student debunks Dr. Sebi's embarrassing teachings. Great video. It's put this on my channel 4 years ago, actually 5 years ago, right? I got about 5 videos exposing Dr. Sebi, but let me address your question. Sebi court case story that everyone believed was his own story. He told to the Amsterdam newspaper. The Amsterdam newspaper printed Dr. Sebi's story. They didn't print the court case's story or show you the court case documents, which I have. He didn't bring no cured people to see no judge because that's not even what the case was about. The case is about him making claims that he can cure incurable diseases, which you're not supposed to do as a doctor. You're not supposed to make false claims as a doctor. But Sebi got off because he wasn't a doctor making these claims. He was just an herbalist. So what they did was made Sebi pay restitution back to unhappy customers. They made him change all his labelings. They put sanctions on his ass. They made him change all his labelings, pay restitution, stop making false claims, and all that old shit. And I think he had to pay the court a fee or something. So he didn't get convicted because he wasn't a doctor. And it wasn't that serious of a case. He was just being a charlatan. They told him to stop being a charlatan and change up your shit, basically. And this is why the nigga moved to Honduras. Because you can go to Honduras and say and do any fucking thing. You know what I mean? He lost that court case. And what he had was 70 supporters that was just supporting him, not 70 people who were cured of something. The story got all twisted. Sebi twisted the story in the Amsterdam News and lied his ass off, and we believed his fake ass story. So he never beat no court case. He just didn't go to jail. That's all. What else did I want to touch on real quick? Quality CBD gummies they're great. You know what? Actually, this is my home. I have an online store. Brother Garfield, Unc, everybody, y'all knew this shit. But yet and still, you want to call this nigga the GOAT? Say he's great. Nobody can beat him in the debate, although he got in his ass whooped 4 different times in the debate, 1 including me. Bro, Polite's doomsday is tomorrow. Let me tell you what's going to go on tomorrow. There's going to be live streams going crazy all over YouTube starting tomorrow around noontime after we see what he pleads. Polite is going to plead, and I've told people this, and I'm predicting what he's going to plead. He's going to plead to one of the felonies and that misdemeanor, which is going to get him One of them felonies is up to 15 years. 2 years has been watching this nigga talk that shit on Instagram. And all them elders was lying about history, teaching revised history. If you ain't seen this video, you sleeping. I got 138 people listening to me right now. So let me take the opportunity to show something real quick. Thousand years. Black folk have never been in them lands above the Sahara.
Yes,
You're
brother,
mutable.
we are
Yeah.
back stronger. So, want to know if anybody want to join us? Anybody have any questions? Anybody want to, add to or contribute or just challenge anything that's been said, talked about, discussed? Let me know. I'm, we're open to hearing, from the comments have slowed down. But yes, brother.
Yeah.
So that was another part of the clips talking about false healers out there and things like that. So
Yeah. The problem is this, right? We black people always want somebody to love us, right? Somebody to love us, right? And this is why movements die. People get wrapped up in the person, not the movement, what they're doing. We don't care about the movement anymore. We get wrapped up in the person. Oh, he's Dr. Sebi, and he loves us. He trying to cure us and everything like that, And I don't know. I've never sat down and talked to Dr. Sebi. I don't know someone could be really believing what they're believing, right? And another thing is, this is what we're talking about. I work in the healthcare field, right? I know for the fact of the matter is, if my clients and everything don't get their medication, don't get the prescription drugs, everything, they would die. I know people that have died and listen to herbalists and people think they can cure something like that. Modern medicine, right, it trumps all. This when you basically live in a modern world, right? We have the best healthcare, modern medical science in the world, right? We could put in artificial hearts and kidneys, something like that. The people living longer because of modern medicine and modern technology and stuff like this, right? And what we do is, as black people, right, we reject science, real science, right? We gravitate towards pseudoscience. Why? Because real science takes work. Just like real history takes work. Real history takes work. You got people who think they're educating history by watching YouTube videos and watching memes, right? And when I try to debate some of these people, they get lost. I crush them all the time easily, right? They never read books. When you read a whole bunch of books in your life, right, you could just, not even about history, but I always read historical novels set in different time periods and everything. There's always a chronological order of things. This happened on this day. This happened on this day. This happened. And so therefore you have a frame of reference of how world and history events happen, what happened, different types of people and everything. If you don't have that basic scope, right, someone could come along and tell you, oh, well, the Japanese were in Norway at one time and everything. Prove that I'm not. Japanese never went to Norway. I live in Iceland Island. No, Japan were in the Vikings and they sailed to Japan. And so therefore people make up history as they go along. Because if you don't have an accurate view of history, right, and a trusted view of history, right, well, how do you know what it is? Look, if you read enough books, real books, historical books, and everything, you know what the truth is. Because almost all authors that do history, right, 99.9% are peer-reviewed. They're always the same. They may have a different opinion on an event or something like that, right? And there may be certain nuances, right? But the bottom line is always historically accurate. That's what publishing houses. That's why we have institutions. That's why we have book publishing houses, right? Before you publish a book, they can ask you cite your sources, right? If your sources don't go up, your book is not going to get published. And it's in that, right, that the when people go and study, right, they're getting accurate information that's available. What's happening is people are doing a lot of self-publishing books, self-publishing pamphlets, right? And so, did you read this book? Did I get the book with that? Misspelled words, run-on sentences, and everything. Just because something's in a book don't mean it's real. Was it peer-reviewed, right? What institution did it come from, right? Where's the bibliography? You know what a bibliography is? That's the list of sources where it comes from, right? The only people that can write a book without a bibliography are somebody that's an authority on a situation, and you only get that when you've been peer-reviewed by your peers, everything like that. And when you publish that book, right, your core credibility and everything's on the line. That's why you got authors, right? Sometimes you like put somebody like Mark Twain, not Mark Twain, Ernest Hemingway, right? He disappeared because he was very critical of the world he saw. So he just died. He committed suicide, you know? Because bottom line is this: he doesn't want to publish anything. That's a lie. Most real authors, right, that know real history, right, they're always depressed. Authors are always angry. They're always like this, right? Real authors and real historians are always people that are, agnostic. Because they know there's a desire for you to write something that people, oh yeah, they'll pick up my candy. Oh, this is great. This is great. This is great. But when you basically are an author of integrity and everything like that, and you know what your words are going to affect people, a good author, a good writer knows when he writes, those written words are powerful. And you got people who are recklessly rearranging history, lying about history and everything, and putting out there. Why? Because they don't care about you. You got people giving you bad health information. Why? Because they don't care about you. Real people that write things and try to influence people, they won't do it. If they have any integrity, they won't write it and they won't publish it. They won't put it out unless it's real. And we don't have that because Black people, we gravitate towards those people, right? We tell them, if you tell me what I want to hear, you tell me how we're superior, the Black man built pyramids, we built all this stuff that we built, we taught Europeans how to bathe and all this kind of nonsense that doesn't have any historical fact, but we want to believe because we're so desperate to hear what we want to hear. Now I'm saying, why don't we learn our real history? Just take all the L's, take all the losses, and every real history, then we could build from there. Perfect example, I'm talking about the Japanese, right? When Japan was confronted by Chinese civilization, like China had all this stuff. They said China had calligraphy, they had writing and everything. The Japanese didn't get mad and say, you know something, let's rearrange our history. And they took all the stuff that they borrowed from China, everything. They borrowed everything, civilization from China, right? They'll tell you, yeah, we learned this from the Chinese. You know, we learned this from the Chinese. We learned this from the Chinese and everything. And we made it uniquely our own. Well, other groups of people, right, in the ancient world, right, scholars will go to different cities and towns and teach people and everything like that. And they'll give credit to the people we didn't know before the Arabs invented algebra, you know? But we don't have that anymore, right? Where people, if their civilization is lacking, right, they'll reject it. And that's dangerous as far as the Black race is concerned. Instead of building on the contributions we legitimately made to modern medicine, right? We reject medicine. Oh man, that's all a bunch of nonsense. So those people that spent years. Do you understand what it takes? In fact, when we talk about, let's talk about Egypt for a second, right? It was the French who broke the secrets of ancient hieroglyphics and words and everything, put it all together. French scientists spent a lot of money, years, pulling their brains out to put this stuff together. It wasn't Black people, you know, who uncovered the meta-netter and stuff like that. It was European scientists. You know, how ancient Egypt's system of geometry and stuff like that. You know, those people that did that sat in cold rooms and stuff like that. And while the rest of the people are partying and dancing, they had their little maps and little magnifying glasses, researching and coming up with notes and everything like that. When they didn't do it, they passed their notes on to the next person, and next generation see what they can do. Why? So the truth can be revealed. But we take the easy way out, you know? oh, the black man built the pyramids. Black man. Did you do any research? Do we have any black credible people that basically uncracked these codes and everything like that before it's passed down to the modern world? No. And that's the truth. And a lot of black people, we don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear the truth about ourselves and everything. And a couple of years ago, there was this thing I was watching where they were showing books, the libraries in Timbuktu. People had literally tens of thousands of books, right? That they were trying to translate it for the modern world. I thought, this was back in 2008, 2009, right? I thought that there would be Pan-Africans going over and saying, wow, there were books of the daily life of Timbuktu, Guinea, West Africa, the Mali Empire, right? That was showing like stories of day-to-day life and everything like that to put an accurate picture of what life was like during the Mali Empire and stuff like that. And a couple of years later, you had the jihadists trying to burn these books down and everything. I thought that we would put money together and say, look, let's save these manuscripts and everything like that. But we show no interest in that. You show absolutely no interest in that. The black world said, look, man, Timbuktu and all these other places where they showed, they had it all written in Arabic and it was translating into modern English and stuff like that to make modern books so people could write and see stories and wars and battles and different day-to-day lives and everything. So our history could be taught just like the people have an accurate history of life in Rome, Greece, and China and everything like that, But black people, we want to know no part of that. We're sitting here trying to say that, trying to prove how we make up history about how we're Native Americans. So how can you basically build something on fake history? If we were doing that with the Mali Empire and everything like that, and learning our real history, we'd be proud of it, and we have something to connect to. So this is what we're talking about tonight, right? Everything we're talking about tonight is we're not going to get anywhere. And don't feel guilty about all these people, these charlatans and everything that sold us fake history about the Moors and all like that. Like the Dr. Phil Valentine, so-called Dr. Phil Valentine, talk about how the Moors made a treaty with the United States government, and they're really Moors, and this is our land. And then he said his end game was, the white man's going to turn Manhattan and all these people over to them. The white man with these tall buildings and everything like that. The white man's just going to say, "This is your so-called indigenous land, right?" And they leave and give you Wall Street, give you all downtown Times Square and everything like that. The world he built, he's going to hand it over to you because you claim you're more. You claim that you're the original Aboriginal of America. This is the sort of foolishness we're doing. I talk about fake history. And fake history is not going to get us anything, but sitting here doing nothing but listening to fools and making them rich by buying their books and CDs and making these people famous. The black world just trying to survive. No, I don't think this is more. See, I'm not on survival mode. Black people choose to be on survival mode, right? We're thinking about great things. You got to aim big. Aim for the sky. Why don't we have movies and everything like that about Mansa Musa? When I basically learned about the history of Liberia in the Exodus of 1878, you know what I did? I did my research. It took me 2 years, and I wrote this novel. And everything in this novel is accurate. Even though it's historical fiction, the themes in this novel is 100% accurate. Because I wanted our people to have something. I didn't write this book for money. I said we need to learn about this part of Liberia, our history in Liberia. And because I wrote that book, a lot of people started getting interested in Liberia. I had Liberians basically who just abandoned their country, start coming back saying, you know something? A guy who was on the show last week said, "Yo, Carla, because I saw you on Dynasty's show talking about you got married, that made me." People have given up on their own country, and I said, "Don't do that." So that's why I took the time to get into this country, and I exalt Liberia. So you got a lot of Liberians who first time in life feeling proud of their country. Because I tell the real history. I don't tell a fantastic version of Liberian history. I tell the real history. I deal with real history. Liberia to me was the most remarkable thing the black race has ever created in the last 500 years, and probably in history. So talking about real history, right, will inspire people. And if more people start embracing real history, they'll start embracing the Liberian history. Wow, we wrote a constitution. Yes. While people are writing constitutions all over the world, since Liberia, 200 countries have been formed. Since Liberia, 200 countries. All these countries have a constitution, everything like that. And we're still sitting in America wondering about who we are, when the answer was right there all along. The answer was our ancestors went to that republic, that land, and created a republic for us. That's why I said real history matters. I didn't try to write no fake history about we were Comanche Indians and all this kind of stupid stuff like that. I asked the so-called Native Americans, what famous battle did a so-called black Aboriginal ever do? What city, what town did you control? Show me on the map where you existed. They can't do it. So real history. Don't listen to the Tariq Nasheeds and all those other people. They don't care about you. You know, they can't tell you 100 years from now. Phil Valentine gave me 100 years. Oh, yeah, the white man's going to hand over Manhattan. You make a fake history, and you think a fake history is going to give you a fake future. The white man's not going to hand you over New York City. He's going to up and root New York City and give you all that real estate because you claim that you were there and you got some treaty, whatever like that. See the foolishness? When you listen to fake history? So,
yes, Kyle, I'm trying to get him to post some questions, brother, as you're breaking down fake and real history.
I only deal with real history, real facts, whether good or bad. Like I said, our ancestors weren't perfect in Liberia, but I thank God for what they did. What they did, and they have a country, a republic, and a constitution that still stands after all these years, 176 years, it's still standing there. It still offers us a way onto the African continent. It offers a chance to connect with our roots. So I'm not going to sit here and do fake history and tell people. Another thing is that we got to stop thinking that we all have to get along. That's why I like Chief X. He challenges people. Let the chips fall where they may. People putting out fake stuff and everything like that, they need to be called out. They need to be called out and exposed.
Yes, Kyle, breaking it down, brother, breaking it down.
You know, the other night we played the Liberian national anthem. That got me amped up, you know.
Got you excited, man. That's what's up.
You know, read the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. You know,
you ready for the debate part of the show? So let me let you get heated and ready. Greetings, my good brother. How are you, MJ?
I'm doing good. No debate here, man.
Africanism towards nationhood. Let me know what you want to share with us tonight.
No, I'm just really want to share like some comments about. I support the platform. I support what you guys are doing. No debate here. I think Liberia sounds like it's the move to make. Actually, I've been overseas a couple of times, and I never ever really considered Liberia, man. But that might be the part 2 to the Black American story, man. At the end of the day, I'm thinking about that now.
Well, the good thing about it, our goal together is to make it a reality by putting all the tangibles and making all the things move and work. Yeah, but the greatest thing about it is we have something to build on, which is the most important thing.
Yeah, because because a lot of countries you go to, like I lived in like Bahrain for a while. I lived in Italy for 4 years. I was military, so I was Navy as well. But I was a personnel clerk, so I was actually out there in Virginia. I was actually out there where Carla is now, 757. I was in Portsmouth for about 4 or 5 years in OB. So I was out there for a number of years. So now I'm out in Vegas. But so I've traveled a little bit, not like extensively, but my wife is Ethiopian, man. And I mean, Africa is the spot. That's the place where you should eventually plan. It's a place. Yes, it's a place to be. And you don't have, I mean, based on what I'm hearing from Carla, I'm gonna buy your book too, Carla. Actually, I'm gonna buy your book, man. I want to learn more about Liberia myself because I know like vague about what's the history, in general, but not much at all, man. But I'm like, damn, that might be a good spot to kind of take over, not like in a college type of way.
We got the dates right there for you to join us. You can check it out.
Man, and I'm already trying to. Yeah, man.
And then the goal is to that's a part of the journeys we do is you have historians and you have people that's gonna tell the history of the country, and then when you make your way around it. So that that becomes the tangible education that you can put in perspective with written and other documentation. Carla's been breaking it down for here for the last I want to say a good last at least 15 months. Going into full details, and then we've had other people keep on. So so that's our goal is you don't know what you don't know, and then we have to work out different options for people, and we have to create and be innovative on this finding solutions. So this so when you're discussing things, we just say, let's figure out what other countries to work with. So Carla presented Liberia, so when we have a country and then we look at the research and analysis of it and put it together, we just give it a shot and go strong at it. So this will be country number 11 for me in Africa. So I'm always telling people that we're gonna save you a lot of time and everything, because some people feel like they need to go all over Africa, but I feel like you need to be more established. So we have 2 countries on our itinerary that deal with investments, and that's Liberia and Ghana. So, and also deal with repatriation. But go ahead, Carla, what you saying?
Okay. Would you listen the other night? I think you was on when we played the Liberian Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, I was on that day. Yeah, that's funny. I was on there. Long ass streams, man, but I catch them.
Okay.
Hours, so I was on there.
But that was laughing, actually. Yeah, but that was Liberian Declaration of Independence, right? Was speaking directly to the condition of the black. He said we were neglected of the basic rights of humanity in America, right? And he was making the case for why they declared themselves a republic, and why this is their homeland, this is their home, and future generations will come here and build. And that basically spoke to Black America, the people who are being oppressed and neglected in America. When you look at the American Constitution, there's no mention of Black people. There's no mention of anything. We were considered 3/5 of all of our person and everything. And the people who wrote the American Constitution were slaveholders. And you got some of these fake historians out here right now who are trying to say another fake history, right? With this, even somebody like Dick Gregory was. I don't try to disrespect, but you did well. But miseducated, right? Said Black people were part of the Continental Congress. John Hanson, the real John Hanson, was a person, a white man of Swedish origin, right? And then Chief X broke that down. And the John Hanson they show was a photograph of a John Hanson from Liberia who came to United States in 1862. The Black man, first of all, photography didn't exist in the 1700s, And so the picture that people show of John Hanson, a black man, was John Hanson from Liberia. And so people have been running around with that. Then you got people running around. They have pictures of Africanus McGill, right? He was part of the McGill family in Liberia, right? And they said, this is Abraham Lincoln was Black. This is the real picture of Abraham Lincoln. He looks sort of like Lincoln in the face, right? See, Abraham Lincoln was Black. We put these fake history out, right, to make us feel good. So if you believe Abraham Lincoln was a Black man, you believe Dwight Eisenhower was a Black man, And you got people running around talking about 5 of our presidents were actually black, in America before Barack Obama. All this freaking fake history, It's all basically an attempt to hold on to America and say, I'm an American and everything like that, right? But these people won't take 1 second and say, look, our ancestors did a remarkable thing. They built the republic on the African continent. Oh, they don't know what to do with that. They much rather believe that Thomas Jefferson was really black and George Washington was really black. John Hanson of the Continental Congress was black, and all this kind of nonsense and everything. So it's it's foolishness, And the bottom line, and it used to be a time where we used to get in these conscious groups and everything. Because we're the only one talking conscious, we sit there and talk with each other and everything. Now this space is big enough where we could delineate from the nonsense and everything. This is a real black history, black power, Pan-African nation building platform. We don't want to hear about all these crazy theories, and we know where they came from. If somebody wants to believe all that, hey, turn on Sinetta Studios, listen to that goofy shit all you want. You believe that the black man was here 50,000 years ago and built some civilization, the Tangiers, whatever, and then whatever like that. You want to believe all that stuff, great, but that has nothing to do with the real movement of the nation building and Pan-Africanism.
Exactly. That's the bottom line, right?
So
all right. Well, I appreciate it, man. Y'all keep it up. I'm a supporter, man. I'm gonna try to make that trip to Liberia, man. My birthday is April 10th, so I'm gonna try to make it.
That's gonna be our last day. We're having a big party at the Calabas, man. That's the best nightclub I've ever been to in my life in Liberia. By then the island, the new club on the island, they have a little club they're around the bay, right? And they're building a bridge right to the island. There's gonna be another spot, a dance floor, gazebo, and everything on the bay. That shit should be done by then, And the bottom line,
make sure you have the greatest time ever.
That's gonna be that is gonna be the throwdown part. I don't know if we're leaving on the 10th, right? So we're leaving on the 10th.
On the 9th.
We're leaving on the 9th. The 9th.
Oh, 9th. Okay. Well, okay. We can't. But we'll have an early birthday celebration for you. When we go to Colorado, we'll have an early celebration for you.
And you can also stay longer. We'll leave you in good hands.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'll be there.
We have a whole staff.
I have one other question. Are you guys aware about any type of solar projects going on in? Because that's a big thing come up in the United States. I recruit for a living. I'm in HR, so I recruit for different just different jobs and different companies for staffing or whatever like that. But I see that it's a big movement for solar across the United States, but especially globally as well. So that might be something to consider for Liberia later on to do. Because right now you could really be totally energy independent right now.
Liberia, one thing about Liberia is they have a good infrastructure as far as the grid. You go drive up all the coast, you see transmission lines, everything. And when I was there 2 years ago, right, a lot of people use backup generators, but a lot of people have been connected onto the main power grid, and it's actually cheaper, right, using the current than using solar or because when you talk about kerosene and stuff like that, that's expensive, people understand that kerosene, those generators go out like that, and for regular power grid, they have this thing where they use biometrics, where you can use your phone, right, a scanner, and on your phone, and with the MTN, you can put the amount in, and boom, you could pay your bill right there with the barcode and everything, So people in Liberia, in many ways, their electrical system is more advanced than ours, because they can pay theirs in real time, or they just go to their box and stuff or they can put it on their phone. They don't have to go to the box. They go on their phone when they had an account, right, an app set up where they can just put the money on and the stuff just comes on. And so a lot of people are moving away from that. Now in the rural areas, right, when I was in Robertsport, right, they're connected to the West African power pool, and it was they have real electricity. When I was there, honestly, I didn't see any solar panels, wind power. I didn't see any electrical generators. I just saw people connected to the grid, But if you have a farm, what I say like this: if you're solar energy, they're good for refrigeration, backup power, and stuff like that. But and a backup source, let's say the main grid goes down, and you got the solar thing with the battery in your house and everything. But to rely completely on that is a little much right now, because they're very expensive, But as far as like a backup, oh yeah, that's definitely a money making thing if you could sell. But what you got to do is you got to get the right people, buy houses, maybe offer financing and stuff like that. That's a problem, If it costs a certain amount, you might have a financing program and stuff like that. That's always been a challenge in West Africa, as far as like, setting up things where people could make payments, because everything in Africa is people just buy cash, You go to a car dealership, you buy cash, everything's cash, so they don't really do the financing thing. That could be a game changer right there when the country stabilizes everything, creating credit markets, and financing markets, microloans and stuff like that, where people
Exactly.
could,
Major. Yeah.
that could be a multi-billion-dollar industry financing alone, And so definitely solar. As far as factories, if you basically have like let's say a refrigeration and a refrigeration build a warehouse and everything, you definitely want solar panels up there as a backup, because solar panels could use 30 to 40% of your energy. So with that, with the when you're connected to the grid, you're really good. It brings the cost of energy down. But I caution people thinking they're just going to go and just rely on solar panels. Solar energy is not there yet. It's a supplemental income. It's backup and everything like that. But just using solar by itself and everything like that is not really feasible just yet. If it was, you would see it a lot in Africa.
A lot more, for sure.
Or you just don't.
All right, man. I appreciate y'all, man, taking my call. I'm gonna try to make that trip for sure. No cap, no fluff. I'm gonna try to make that trip to Liberia.
Man. Right, we'd love to have you, brother.
Person. Yeah, for sure, no doubt.
All right, brother.
Appreciate it, man.
Talking with you. Take care.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Bit by bit, man, this movement is growing. The enthusiasm for the movement is growing.
Absolutely. Yeah, keep energy going strong.
The enthusiasm for the movement.
Yes, brother Carla. So I'm trying to see if anybody else want to get on, and then we can probably start wrapping it up soon.
Right.
Unless you have more to share.
Well, no, I think I said enough, but I wanted to talk a little more about Liberia, as far as history. Now,
yes, go ahead, and then if you have any videos you want me to.
Okay, I want you to play one last video I just sent you. That last video I sent you. It's like sometimes I hate being right, because sometimes I wish I was wrong about a lot of stuff I know. But this video is going to clear up a lot of stuff I've been saying all the time about climate change as far as Africa is concerned. And as far as this conversation that you're about to play, I want to know where's Kinganda on this. I'm glad Phil Scott, the Diaspora channel, did this video. This girl with she's Ethiopian. She's with Phil Scott in the Diaspora channel. She does a lot of good stuff. But I want you to listen to this video, and when Black people start going into this idea of climate change, because you think industrialization and science and technology and modernization of the world, they could brainwash you to convince you of that, right? So you don't develop yourself, and you think you're the problem. And the bottom line is they want less of us on the planet. That's what this is all about.
The solution for climate crisis is having less Africans in this world, according to Finland's minister. Vilhelm Junnila, who is Finland's Minister for Economic Affairs, said the solution for the climate crisis is to give more abortion to African women. He said it would be justified for Finland to shoulder its responsibility by promoting climate abortions. Climate abortion would be a small step for a person, but a giant leap for humanity. After what he said went viral and created controversy, he resigned. Mind you, he didn't get fired, but he resigned himself. That tells you that his party didn't see anything wrong with what he said, But he said he didn't want to stain the name of his country, so that's why he's quitting. As if Finland has been such a great nation towards Africans. Do you remember just last week I talked about how Finland was threatening African countries and telling us that they are going to put us under surveillance because we wanted to exercise our rights? These are the same people. This man is disgusting, and I don't even have words for it. Fam, I need you to understand what this agenda is, and I need you to pay attention. And also, I need you to connect with everything that is going on with the eugenics talks, with Macron telling us that African women start using contraception, with abortion clinics opening up left and right. I need you, especially African women, to understand that you have to be the one to decide when to have a baby, when to not have a baby. And the unfortunate thing about contraception is I've covered a story from South Africa when women are going to clinics trying to get contraception methods where like it's going to be like 3 years until you're ready to have a baby. So you take that treatment, and then once they're ready for a baby, they never can have it because they didn't give them the right treatment, but they actually sterilized them. There are so many stories in Africa. So make sure that you choose the right doctor, you do your research before you accept any kind of medication, treatment, and take care of yourself, fam. And finally, I want to say this. I know the Western world is horrified by the fact that our population keeps growing every year. And I want to promise them it is going to continue to grow, and we're going to populate the earth and fill it up.
Yeah, exactly what I'm saying. Now, imagine if we had real doctors, right? Real doctors, if we had enough real black doctors in the world, right? You think we'd be going through this? But no, we called somebody like Dr. Umar a doctor, Dr. Boyce Watkins, right? Dr. Sebi, Dr. this, Dr. that, and whatnot, you know? And so we say, well, doctor, it's like a doctore, I'm a doctore of something, you know? We use that term doctor. That term doctor should be only used for people who are just really, really medical science and medical doctors and everything, people who are peer reviewed and stuff like this. I've said this years ago, right? That the whole climate change hoax, right, is all about depopulating black people from this planet. That's all it's about. But yet black people have bought this hook, line, sinker because we don't have the real conversations and the pushback, right? You got people that got platforms and everything. All they do is sit on YouTube talking nonsense every day. You know, no one has any answers for what they talk about. These people want us off this planet. They want this. Henry Kissinger basically said to Africans, you want U.S. aid, you got to reduce your population. They can say it out in the open. You know, yes, eugenics, eugenics started here in America, right here in Virginia. You know, the idea that certain people should not breed, some people should not procreate and everything because you're polluting the earth. This comes out of this sick idea of white supremacy. But yet the eugenics movement is both a left wing and a right wing movement. It's both two wings. White supremacy is two wings of the same bird. On one hand, you got the racists, the Ku Klux Klan, neo-Nazis and everything. And on the other hand, you got people on the left who promote abortions, abortions and climate change and population reduction and everything, Planned Parenthood and all this stuff like this, And so the bottom line is this is all to maintain this power. Why do you think the other groups of people have gotten control over their destiny? The Asians now they got big cities. They got industrialization. They got industrial zones. They're creating millionaires and billionaires every day and everything. And the only race of people that's still on the bottom of the world scale is the black race. And then instead of us building Africa and looking at what we have, which we have that great continent out there with tremendous resources and tremendous potential, right? We want to sit here and talk about how we were here in America 50,000 years ago and that we're the true Americans and all like this. This is friggin' nonsense. And I'm not putting up with it anymore. I am not putting up with it anymore. So, like I said, and when people look about history, I love Liberia. I love the history. Why? Because those black people took their destiny in their own hands and they built something. They built a reality for themselves on their ancestral continent. And so, therefore, we basically honor that, real history, real solutions, real future, versus fake history, fake science, pseudoscience, and mediocrity. The choice is yours. And I think history is on our side.
Well, Carla, nobody want to challenge you tonight, man. Not one.
Yeah.
And they're listening. And even the trolls are up in the house.
Yeah. How many people we got in the live?
It is 26.
That's a lot of people.
For what we do, it's always a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, brother. We're gonna start wrapping it up and play some closeout music or something. And family, this is the
Yeah. This is another one for the history books, I'm glad we had Chief X breaking it down. Notice that I stand by Chief X 100%. MJ, thanks for buying the book. Thank you, brother. It's a treasure. Put it at your bookshelf. That's what we do here. Hope we, God's willing, going to join us next year on this trip. We're making history.
yes, family, and the journey continues. And I appreciate everybody for joining. And so, family, we're gonna cut it in our version of short. Cut it short, and get rest and get back on the move and get ready for Liberia. And family is coming. It's coming fast. So sometimes people.
Anytime 3 hours is short, we do good shows. I remember a Dynasty show, man, an hour and a half. He's like, it's time to close out. I'm like, damn, we only been on a friggin' hour and 20 minutes, Dynasty.
We get into in detail, deep analysis, and a whole lot of analyzing. So hopefully everybody enjoyed those clips. I posted the video. It's in the description box, and I posted it on the live feed. So just click on the link and you can check out the full video. It's all good. But yes, we just needed to use those clips, especially the part about the Dayton Calloway crew always talking about how how they were here, and so always appreciate you and brother Chief X breaking it down, because they be acting like no one can challenge them, and that they're doing some kind of work to where yeah, man, we found the truth. Yeah,
you've been lied to all these years. The white man, you've been lied to. The white man, these guys. The bottom line is this: white people love for you to erase your history. Let me tell you this: there's a concerted effort right now. White people are trying to use TikTok and things to rewrite history, try to take their role and slavery away and make it seem like, it wasn't that bad and all this kind of stuff like this. They're trying to erase our history, and you got Negroes trying to erase our history. You can't win for losing. So that's what it is,
yes,
folks.
Absolutely, brother. That's serious, man. So, yes, brother Carla. So so family, thank you for joining us, and we're gonna play some closeout music, Sons of Africa. Unless you have something, some final thoughts or anything else that you want to share.
No, I think we did it. I think we did it enough. We'll be back on Tuesday, hopefully God's willing, and stuff like that with some more topics. Might need a part 2.
We got lots of work to do. Absolutely, Pan-Africanism for Dummies Part 2.
Yeah, Dummies Guide towards Pan-Africanism. And like I said, let me tell you something. I didn't say, yeah. Let me say this, right? We'll close with this, right? Look, let me tell you something, right? To be call yourself a Pan-African, right? You cannot always be like Woman Power J says that Pan-Africanism shouldn't mean hate Black Americans, right? Look, there's people who use Pan-Africanism to hate Black people, Black America. They I'm a Pan-Africanist. Yet they spew out white supremacy talking points. Black people ain't shit. Black people this, black people that. And all that. That's not Pan-Africanism. What we do is done in love. We love our people. I think Black America is the greatest thing ever created and everything. Despite all our problems and everything, I wouldn't want to trade this shit for anything in the world, you know. And so with that, I come with that mentality that I'm embracing my mother continent. I'm bringing my best. And that's why Bomani and I, when we come to Liberia, we're bringing our absolute best. You know, we understand that we can contribute to the continent while we're bringing our best. And we have to believe that we're the best. You know, and we show that we're the best and produce the best. But if I believe that Black people are shipless and lazy and everything, I see brothers out there. I see we doing the hard work. Look at any trucking company when that. Who's unloading the trucks, you know? Take a look around, particularly here in the eastern United States. All the trucking companies, Mullane, you know, go to 7-Elevens and all these other people. Who's the guys that's out there with those little bracelets on their backs? Black men. Not Mexicans and everything like that. It's Black men. Who's doing most of the landscaping, the painting and everything? It's always Black men. So we got to stop this idea that Black men ain't doing anything and everything like that. It's a lie. You know, I love Dennis Sperling wrote that broke Umar Johnson down. He said, Umar Johnson said Black women are spending $30 billion a year on hair care. That's a lie. They're only spending $1 billion a year. So where did Umar get $30 billion? We just believe all this stuff. Black men are mass incarcerated. We said the prison population we played a couple of days ago, is going down. Less Black men are going to jail. Less Black men are committing crimes. More Black people. 65% of Black men are in the middle class. You know, and so we want to take this momentum of success to the Pan-African movement. We're not losers. Carla, when and how I'll get to real history in terms of cancer. You know, the bottom line is this: go to a library. You want real history? Go to a dang library. You know, pick up books. Pick up any books. You know, it don't have to be a book written by a Black. Just read history. You know, public libraries are free. You can get a library card for free. There are libraries there, but oh, that's a library, you know? We have to get rid of the ignorant Black people in our culture. People don't want to know real history. They don't want real science. They don't want real medicine. They don't want anything like that, right? They want to basically listen to charlatans and people like that and everything like that. And they wonder why the movements are failing. You wonder why you got somebody like Polite up here going on. You know, why the movement seems goofy and embarrassing. Because the bottom is dropping out on all these people. They've been lying to for years and everything like that because, you know, like I said, you know, the conscious movement has become the new drug. Instead of smoking crack, you're smoking a bunch of fake history when they have to pump you up, make you feel good. Every day, then you come down off that high, you're like, damn, man, 5 years went by and I haven't advanced not anything. You know, the real Pan-African movement, we're actually making progress. Every day, Bomani and I are building and building and building until we're going to see victory one day. You know? So, yeah, I said real history and knowing real history. Just read history, you know? You know?
Same comment.
It's a concerted effort. And also, the bottom line is this. You know, Black people, I can't deal with all African Americans, right? All I can do is people who want truth. You know, the brother MJ, he wants truth. He's somebody that, and also what I'm finding now is that the beauty about what we're doing right now is we're attracting Black people from the middle class, and educated middle class in this movement. They didn't feel like they had a place because when you go around yo, I come from the streets. I sat under Dr. Ben and I went to his lectures, you know, and you feel intimidated by these people that had all these accolades and everything. And the truth is you don't really need all these things. You have to know that you're Black, right? And you want to build with the Pan-African cause. You don't need all that. So you don't need to be on 125th Street. You don't need to have been to the Brooklyn Slave Theater. You didn't have to do all that, you know? That's not, none of that just stuff is necessary. So you don't need no esteemed scholar, you know? You don't need Dr. Umar. You don't need all these people. You know, find the truth in yourself. You know, when you understand truth, and more you read, the more you become educated, you become an authority on what we're trying to do. You know, You will get to the day where you don't need Carla Genesis anymore. You become your own Carla Genesis. That's what I want to see. So.
Yes, Carla Genesis. Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate the thorough breakdown and deep analysis. And so, family, we're going to be reconnecting with you. Let me share with you some closeout banners and get you some nice sounds by Melanie Ganji, and then enjoy the beautiful slideshow. And this is Sons of Africa. Yes, my brother, Carla. I'll connect with you, brother.
All right, brother.
Enjoy your rest, and and come back, get back up stronger, and let's get to work.
Oh yeah, brother.